Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 192. I'm Graham. I'm here with Luke, Richie, and Cody, and we are talking Webwheelers Ball 5. It is fresh on our minds. We all got back 2 days ago. This is the second day since. We had all
Close.
yesterday. Close. It depends on when you left.
Yeah. That's a wrap. Shout out to the Rockaholics that showed up. Y'all were awesome. And also to Broncoish. He ended up wheeling with us all damn weekend, and he's just a super cool dude.
I figured so. After we had him on, I was like, this guy fits the vibe. Like he matches like the same mindset that it seemed like that we all
He definitely fits the vibe.
Hell yeah. I love
The
it.
vibe check was passed, if not exceeded.
So
His wife.
did Colin wake up and puke Saturday morning like he always does?
No.
He drank responsibly?
No, we don't know. They were at the hotel every night.
Oh,
This is true.
Oh, I forgot that they do that. Yeah, because
And the other component there, before we give Colin too much shit here, is they had some issues with their dog that made it incredibly difficult for them to arrive in a timely manner and to also wheel, because the dog wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, dog got sick.
Yeah, dog wasn't. Dana wasn't doing so hot, so
poor baby.
I felt really bad. He was supposed to come down with me, and it just was the trip for them was kind of a nightmare as far as getting down.
Trying to plan with Colin, you're just going to be 5 hours later than you expected. Like you're bad, and then there's Colin.
Graham shows up 4 hours later. Colin shows up a day late.
But no, that sucks. Hopefully everything with their dog is.
Yeah, she was better by the end.
Colin just had a fucking rough go of it the whole fucking time.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like something kind of majorly exciting happened for him that hopefully wouldn't be rough because that would
had
suck.
a rough fucking start.
Oh no!
We'll get to that later.
Wait, I mean, is he going to be on one of the episodes?
I don't know. We have to reach out to him, but it's kind of hard to schedule with him working second because he works every day we record. We'd have to do a weekend special.
Okay, maybe we can figure out
maybe do that.
So maybe we hold off with Colin conversation just in case we do have him on because it has been a bit. I think the last one we had him on was
Arlen.
Tennessee the second time.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That Harlan one though. That was a funny episode.
3.5 hours. Yeah. Bullshit.
I wouldn't be surprised if this one ends up going a little long.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just start with this. Who went that you didn't expect to see or that I wouldn't have expected would have gone? Let's start with that.
Raph from Rockaholics was unexpected for me.
Ooh, okay.
It's not for me. I don't I've seen him a lot lately. He's very active. He's a very active rockaholic, I feel like. Every time we've been out, he's been there. So to me that wasn't surprising, but since you're not sort of in the loop on the New England stuff all the time, I can understand why he wasn't expected from your front. I didn't know he was coming, and I definitely had to do a double take on his rig because I haven't seen it since he chopped it all up.
I've never met the guy. Never met the guy, and he shows up with a beautiful XJ buggy. He was unexpected for me. Dude with the... I think it was a cut down K20 was also pretty cool.
Wait, what? That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's cut down, 4-link rear, radius arm front. Didn't really get to wheel with him because everything ended up being kind of just seat of the pants as these things always are. But Friday, I guess Broncoish would be another one. He passed the vibe for sure on the episode, but he pulled in next to us, and it was like he was just there the whole weekend with us, and it was fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
So he,
Um,
I was
so
surprised by Broncoish.
you're what?
I was surprised by Broncoish.
Heck yeah! I mean, I'm not surprised. Honestly, it seemed like he had a good mindset for like our style of wheeling. You know what I mean? Where like just kind of go have a good fucking time and enjoy it with others. Like he seemed like when we had him on that he was in a very similar spot. But that's sick. I mean, his
Yeah.
rig's fucking sick. That video of him getting turtled is the funniest thing ever. As he's just rocking the fucking thing back and forth. It's so good.
yeah,
Or
that
Colin-
whole trail was good.
or Colin going up Trail 5, pulling fucking tire. Like it's just typical Colin shit at this point. Like this
Yeah, you're
simplest
looking at it
line
like
and-
we were talking about it after. You know what happens when he bounces up too much and it slides back on the roof and goes sliding down the hill on its roof. Wouldn't be fun.
At least when he's on his roof, he can't pop a bead. So that's good. No, that's a good thing.
Well, he's got the
He
bead box.
would
He doesn't
find
pop
a
the bead.
way.
You know who was unexpected? Really unexpected. Richie.
Mhm.
Let's go, Richie. Good shit, brother. Happy to see that you're able to get out there. We're now. Oh, I want to hold off because when did the breakage happen for Richie? As I'll wait.
Day one.
Okay, perfect. All right. Let's fucking just dive on in. What was what did you guys do the typical jotters trail 5 like
Nope.
or no? Let's fucking get
Nope.
into it then, boys. What was the route? Who was the crew? What was the crew? Like give me the fucking story, boys. Come on.
Poor
I'm
Richie
chosen for
got
it.
fucked.
Well, it's all fucked up because everybody showed up on different days and left on different days. So
Oh.
like there's
Also-
kind of and it was honestly, and I hate to bring up like the downsides to it, but that was the thorn of the weekend. I feel like is we had people showing up mad early and then leaving mad early, and then people showing up like in the what I thought was the normal time frame, and then we were the last ones at the park.
Out.
Huh? What was that?
I said just about.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it
went
was.
Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that is a day late. Usually we'd go on Thursday.
Yeah.
We weren't there late on. Oh, I guess we were there late on Friday.
I mean,
But-
if it's after 8 a.m. on Friday, then yeah, you're late.
Yeah.
But I mean, it
suppose.
happens. I mean, if you couldn't take the day off or something, then that's completely valid. Or like you're getting your shit going. Like nobody can hold that against you. But
Yeah.
I could imagine that does affect things differently. Like especially if you're like expecting like, oh shit, I want to wheel with this guy, and he's like, oh, I've been here since Wednesday night. Like I'm heading out. It's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
There also was issues with the weather. Like turnout realistically was probably about 40 rigs. So maybe
Okay, so
50
less
rigs.
than
Yeah,
so
it
less
was
than good evening.
It was less than last year's turnout by a lot.
It wasn't the
the-
best weekend. It really, weather-wise, it really wasn't.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a bad weekend though. It was
No,
very
wasn't
it was very
bad.
nice weather. The temperature wasn't like fuck you hot.
Thank
It really
God.
didn't rain at all.
It
Like a
just
little
missed it.
bit at night, and then it just made the next day's morning a little interesting. And then by the end of the day, everything was dry, and it was typical Roush traction.
Don't worry, the rain Thursday just went around us.
Yeah.
So,
Curtis,
yeah,
fuck you,
Curtis.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Curtis.
bald bastard. Fuck you.
We should have had him on.
Speaking
Fuck.
of which, so today I just quick little tidbit because I thought this was funny. I was at the library one of the buildings that I take care of, and I started talking with this librarian. So if she's listening, hello, because it came up in conversation that we do this, and she's like, "Oh, what is it?" And I was just like, "Oh, fuck." It's like, well, just to clarify, definitely don't listen to it at work. It's like- So yeah, so she's listening. Hello, and I'm sorry for any bad words that we said.
So, to carry on with that theme,
Sorry.
let's explain how Richie became the little blonde girl with a bunch of other dudes standing behind her, behind the couch, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
You should
God.
know the picture.
I was that little blonde girl all weekend, Cody.
Yeah, but did you like it at least?
Yes.
All right.
So
well, hey, you
Why
had
do you
fun.
think I'm smiling so much in that fucking picture?
So I'm looking at stuff, right? I'm trying to like look at the group. And so we've got Logan, Curtis, and myself on day one. Right? Oh, and
Little
Wait,
old
Logan brought his X-Ray?
no, Logan Bronco-ish.
Oh, sorry.
Logan
You're not alone. That was fucking me up
BCO-ish.
all weekend.
Yeah, BCO-ish Logan was not there. He
love
had
that
a bad set of vehicular issues, like fried ECM in the Dodge and the
Ooh.
Jeep at the same time, with injector
Ooh.
problems in the van that he
Oh,
knew
yeah.
about from a week ago, but like getting a set of injectors and replacing them in a week for a 7.3 is not exactly,
One.
because those were brand new injectors too. So
Fuck.
yeah, he was not having a good go of it at all. So if you hear Logan referenced, it's regarding Bronco-ish.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So I look at the group. I'm like, all right, cool. We're gonna go to walk in the park. We're gonna do Trail 5 hill climbs. We're gonna go and hit Yellow Jacket Ridge. We're gonna go just bebop around those trails because all of those. Go ahead.
Is Walk in the Park the one with the steep drop in?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Gross.
And
I'm so
motherfucker-
sorry. Holy
I
shit, Richie.
fucked Luke the whole way down that.
Richie's Jeep was perfectly fine on it. I don't know what he's fucking bitching about.
Oh, I
God.
just fucking hate downhills.
Well, we're
That's
working
a
on
rough
that.
one too. That is a ooh.
So
Especially when I'm not expecting them. I'm like riding Luke's ass, and all of a sudden I'm looking at his fucking undercarriage. I'm like, what the fuck? And I got Logan right behind me, so I'm like, well, I can't fucking back up, so I'm just gonna
drop in.
And it has that like fucking tire stopper endo rock at the bottom, and like if you're not expecting it, like that could be nerve wracking if you don't like once you feel the like it hit, you gotta let off the brake to kind of roll up and over it.
Oh, it's
You're like,
gotten worse. All of the dirt
oh
is gone from it, so now
no.
you have to give it gas and actually like crawl up it to get out of there.
Yep.
That's the sketchiest part of the whole fucking thing is the exit from the drop off now. It's not the actual drop off anymore.
Oh, for me, the sketchiest part was definitely like feeling the rear tires drop over the edge.
Yeah,
That
because
was
then you're in it.
So
Okay, keep going.
Um,
Sorry.
So I'm gonna end up passing this back over to Richie in a minute here. But I did the typical thing where ooh, shiny object happened. I forget what the trail is called. It's like C something, right? And it's like a black rock garden right when you get into the fucking park. And you're on your way to walk in the park. So we dropped down that. And there's a trail for Richie to come up if Richie. We ended up navigating Richie around. It took a couple of phone calls to get figured out here, but like, cool. There's a trail for Richie to go up next to us, and I proceed to break the first hub of the weekend on the first obstacle I tried of the weekend.
Is
So
that
that's
the fucked hill climb before Trail 5? Or like
it's
down
one of
past
them.
it? Okay.
It's one of them. So I blew that up. I swapped the hub, like no big deal. Cool, maybe. And it was like one of the older hubs, so I'm like, all right, whatever. This is fine. Proceed to do the line next to it because I just could not get the fucking right line. I put my slider sideways on stuff. I've been using the sides of my front bumper as like things to anchor the Jeep with, trying to like get up this double boulder stack, and it was a good time.
Logan was actually the only one to make that line.
This is true. 43 SXs have a quality all to their own. And an extra, 250 horsepower doesn't hurt either.
True.
So then we decide that we're going to go back up to walk in the park. And Richie is the only one that made it through Walk in the Park.
Yep, I am technically the only one that ran the whole walk in the park.
How did it do open going up that? I mean, it's a pretty smooth rock, so I can imagine that with just like a consistent wheel speed, you'd be fine. But oh, you went the right way. You didn't go up the fucking steep thing, did
Yeah.
you? You little
Yeah,
bitch.
I
All right.
drove through. I didn't. Well, so I would have tried going up the hill, but I didn't. I saw issues getting the Comanche physically to the rock face because of how large
Yeah,
all the rocks that I just dropped down were.
that is
If
true.
I front end, no doubt I would have been able to get up there. It's just I didn't want to fucking go through the hassle of trying to get the Jeep to the rock face.
I forget that you could actually skip that rock face on Walk in the Park. That there is like a little go around. There's actually, isn't there two? Isn't there an entrance in like a
Yep.
two entrance? Yeah. Sorry.
But
Anyways,
it's
keep going.
supposed to be ran going down if it's like directional according to the map. So
Mhm.
we drop down and it's Friday, like there's barely anyone at the park, there's probably 15 total rigs at all of Roush.
If
And
that.
4 of us are grouped up together and 3 of us are on stickies. So we turned around, and this should give you an idea as to how fucked up the traction was all weekend, Cody. I went halfway up Walk in the Park, stopped, and idled the rest of the way up it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that actually.
Um,
How
Just-
did Ball Red Guy do?
Bald Red Guy wasn't there.
Oh,
Mhm.
gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Forgot you were a day late and $1 short.
Yep.
It'd be like that sometimes.
I was
RV
heavily
was
$1
sick.
short.
Um,
RV is sick.
The RV is sick.
Yeah.
Did everything we needed.
Yes, indeed. So we end up going from, what is that? We went from Walk in the Park, we went back up, we took a left, and we went to the Trail 5 hill climbs. Now, I was expecting Richie to go and do like one of the side hill climbs and then come back up and like drop around. Well, poor old Richie is like, didn't see the side trail, like the blue that
No.
leads up to the back of it.
No.
Did you go to the left of the rock face or did you go up the rock face?
Yeah, well, no. So walk in the park.
Oh, sorry.
If you
I
go
was thinking five.
if you're going down the rock face for walk in the park, it continues off towards the right. So that's what I did. I continued right, and
Yep.
I am going up to what was it? I think it was O Blue. I think
Yep.
I
Yep,
I,
trail. Yep.
I could be wrong about the name, and I'm watching everybody zoom past me. And at the same time, Preston called me and was like, "Oh, no, you want to just continue going down." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I back up and I continue fucking going down. And I'm looking at the map on my phone. I'm like, where the fuck is this asshole sending me? Because he's like, "Oh, yeah, if you just continue down, you'll pop out in front of us."
Doesn't it gets like tighter and tighter and tighter as you pass like the red O trail, right?
Uh huh.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
It
Yeah.
tighter and everything. I'm like, well, where the fuck are these assholes at? So I'm like calling Preston because Luke is driving, and Preston.
I forgot. I had Preston riding with me for this, yeah. So Preston's fucking this conversation up. Because Richie was supposed to go...
I was
either-
supposed to go up the trail that I saw everybody fucking zoom past me.
Yep.
That's what I
And
want
so
to do.
we're sitting at Trail 5 hill climb, and it's been like 5 minutes. And I'm like, where's Richie? So I just motor on up to Logan and Curtis. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go pop on down there because Richie's sitting at the bottom, like 300 yards away from us, but it says that there's a black trail and that's the only way to get up. So, like, all right, I'm just going to go, collect our fallen little blonde chick. So I bebop on down and I'm like, this is a dirt road. This is literally a fucking dirt road here. Okay. Grab Richie and we go on up. But because Richie didn't come at it from the same side that we came at it, if you're looking at the entrance, you won't see the little blue loop that goes up because it's so far tucked away to the left. And
Mhm.
so Richie got to watch us be jackasses on Trail 5, and I kind of felt bad for him.
It was
And
either way.
yeah, we
See, that's something that I wish that one of these like GPS companies would come out with, is like a find your friends sort of feature, so you can see where they are. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would be
that
cool.
would
It'd be like a video game.
that would be super helpful, and that'll play a part later.
Why can't I no clip through this trail?
Just because it would be a good time to throw it in. So we were using Onyx a lot at Roush, and my one
They don't
complaint
pay us
about,
anymore.
huh?
They don't pay us anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Okay.
joking. Like, my one complaint about it is I could not get the app to like follow my location. I had to keep recentering my location on the screen.
I
yeah,
don't
you
think
have to
that's
go.
was that an app thing, or was that you losing service thing? 'Cause
No,
that's
that's an app thing.
It-
You have to go to the track function and hit
oh,
the start on that. And the problem with that is if you're traversing a bunch of greens, it does not wipe your old tracks off. So you have to go through and delete your old tracks to make sure you're not getting turned around on your old track because it's the same red line.
gotcha.
But it was super helpful as far as like navigating shit.
so there was a bit of a go around for that problem that I had then.
There was a bit of a go around, but it took me until Saturday to figure that out.
Okay,
Richie, in the IT world, we call what you're describing a pebcac. It's when the problem exists between the chair and the keyboard, not the software. But
well, that's also part of the reason why I brought it up now, because there could have been like an actual resolution to that I just was not aware of.
And
yeah,
there was.
some of the functions definitely aren't super intuitive when you're trying to blast down a trail.
Yeah.
I messed mine up a few times in the same way, but it was helpful, especially for navigating the that lower section of the park. I don't know that part as well. We've always,
Across the street.
yeah. I guess
Yeah.
that's, I don't know if that's lower or upper, but it's the separate half.
Yep.
Not as used to that one. And there's that road that sort of divides it, which they don't want you on, which makes it kind of tough because you have to find good crossings.
Yeah, you have to find crossings to cross the blacktop on the property across the street. I forget what they call it, but that's a son of a
Blacktop road?
bitch. Yes.
Yes.
Whatever we're gonna call
Yes.
it. But yeah, to go back to day one, so we're like, all right, cool. We're off by Trail 5 hill climbs. I did both sides on the left and middle. I didn't do the right side because I was like, fuck it, I'll save it for Sunday. I don't feel like trying that with a group of 4 people and like just trying to keep moving. So we had to Yellow Jacket, and I will pass the story off to Kish because this is where fateful events happen.
On Yellow Jacket? Really?
Oh yes,
I guess yeah. Open. You're gonna be slamming on. I'm surprised.
he's locked in the
Open,
rear.
Oh.
It's welded in the rear.
Oh. I mean, okay. Well, that's better. Okay.
So we blasted down to Yellow Jacket. Luke pulled, because it was me, Luke. No, it was Luke, me, Logan, and Curtis. And so Luke blasted right into Yellow Jacket. He went right up that center ridge going up. And I was like, oh, that doesn't look too bad. So I slotted in right behind him, and I start trying to blast up the fucking thing.
You know how on the ridge where there's the spot where I drop my tire into and just pick the
Yeah.
whole side of my rig up? That
Yeah.
center line was where he was and where I had blasted through because I didn't feel like skirting around
So
the
you-
backside of the rock.
So you crossed through it instead of going like the normal way. You went like left and then hard right into it.
We went diagonal across because I went straight to the back wall.
Okay.
So like I drove over that rock formation that makes up the center of it, dipped into the back wall, and just cut my steering wheel and drove up the other side and like that 6 foot tall wall in the back. And I was turning around to come and like watch Richie and see where he was going to drive into it and what path he was going to take. And he just bombed right up the fucking center of it. And that Comanche is fucking long. So it creates a bunch of problems that you wouldn't have in a Cherokee, in my mind, because you've got an extra 20 inches of wheelbase.
I tried following Luke. I should not have tried following Luke.
That's a bad time in general for anyone, because I get lost and I can't drive. The low talent light was blaring all weekend.
But so I started crawling up everything though, and I felt like I was getting close to getting it. Just having the open front end was cucking me every fucking time. And
it, in fact, was.
yep. And I ended up coming down on my rear drive shaft right on the point of the rock at the same time that the rear tires like grabbed but weren't spinning. And so I ended up getting the the rear drive shaft to do like 2 full rotations without the tires spinning.
Yeah. Yeah, it did the classic like dented drive shaft gets torque twisted thing.
Yep.
And just made a full revolution and a half on itself, splitting the tube.
Love it.
That was great.
And
we ended up
also the first time I've ever done that too.
Bro, that Comanche needs a slip yoke eliminator and a heavy wall. Instead of a double cardan, run a normal U-joint at the transfer case end because it's so fucking long that you can get away with that. Now, I might be totally backwards on this, but like a 1350 rear drive line with 1/4 inch wall tubing because of how fucking long that piece of shit is. It's ridiculously long. It's what, 50 inches U-bolt or not U-bolt, U-joint to U-joints what we ended up welding that at?
Yeah, it's 50 inches cap to cap.
So I spun around, winched the front of the Jeep so that way it wouldn't get held up, and then Logan ended up having to pull him off the back of the obstacle, which was funny because it was like he threw it in reverse and it just didn't go anywhere. And Logan said something about what was it? It was thoughts and prayers to get that thing moving.
I had it moving to start with, but then Preston fucking was like, "Oh, you're good." So I stopped like full throttle reversing, and that's when I fucking stopped and then had to get winched.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not particularly grand, but you know.
And then but yeah, after I got winched off the rock, me and Luke bombed back up to camp. I believe Logan and Curtis stayed in the woods for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They stayed in the woods for a little while and then ended up following us out for getting the ready welder out because Richie and myself ended up meeting 252 Cam, which super nice dude, and that YJ is
shit, he
fucking
was there?
massive. Yeah,
Oh, what? That's sick. How big are those tires, like, actually in person?
massive.
They're big.
Monster truck. He drives a monster truck.
That's sick.
Yeah, everything about 252 Cam is larger than life. It's very funny because he's towing with a Kodiak on like 52s with a 40-foot trailer with one Jeep and a camper on it. Like
Ratchet
just
strapped
all-
to the trailer.
Yes.
The camper is as well. Important to note.
It's
sick.
just dope. And And that YJ is just so fucking massive that like pictures kind of don't give the scale right. But when you're standing next to it and the tire is like midway up your chest, you're like, oh fuck. 50s are not a joke.
That's
So
sick. 50, yeah, 50 sounds just absolutely insane.
yeah, those megas have like an inch and a half or an inch of tread depth to them too. So
Oh
like,
my god.
yeah, he's like got sections of them that are like cut at the edges to help start them rounding over. Super nice guy. To get back to the Richie saga though, so we've got this drive shaft out of the Comanche. It's all fucking twisted up. We're just like looking around. Well, KC from Trail Trash gave me an F350 drive shaft. My plan for this was I was going to make up a spare rear drive shaft at some point with it and
Mhm.
just make a single-ended 1350, measure the yoke distance, 1350 U-joint, use the slip off of it at the axle and just build a cheap rear drive shaft for a spare. Well, it just so happened that it was about 20 thousandths larger on the inside than a Comanche drive shaft is on the outside.
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, like it could not have worked out better.
You really just have dumb luck at this point. I mean, that's just fucking
Yeah.
So, Logan pulls in, we're doing like lunch, like I brought some roast beef, so like I'm rolling up cheese and roast beef, eating that, then handing Richie the tools to start cutting that stuff up because I had I had my like slide in bench vices that goes into the trailer hitch, so we just
Yeah.
threw that in the back of my rig, and then we use what was that?
It was amazing.
Yes, it's great. I love that thing. It's terrible. It's not a great vice, but when you don't have a vice, it's an amazing vice.
Oh yeah, it would have fucking sucked to do all that cutting and welding fucking on a trailer deck.
Yeah. So we undo my battery. Logan brought a spare battery. We got the ready welder set up, and Richie laid some of the most glorious beads I've ever seen out of a flux core welder off of 2 fucking batteries.
I tell that was a fucking weird experience using that ready welder too.
It worked though.
It works. Just it took a few tries to like get a hold of the fact that if you touch the wire to the part, it instantly welds.
Yeah,
All,
it's hot
all,
all the time.
yeah, all the trigger does is feed the wire. It doesn't power anything. So like that took a little
Oh.
get to.
That's interesting.
And the Logan had auto darkening glasses that did not fit over my fucking glasses.
Oh my god. So you're just blind as fuck trying to weld out in the woods?
No, I had the auto darkening glasses on. They worked. They did their job, but oh my fuck, did my face get fucking sunburnt?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about sunburn?
My face was fucking cherry red.
You were cherry red in the face, and somehow my back got it bad. Like, really fucking bad.
You
Like,
also don't have doors now, so I mean, could have been actual sunburn too.
oh, it was actual sunburn. I'm not saying it
Oh,
was
I
from
thought you were saying
welding.
welding.
No, by the time that I got home, my whole back was peeling and blistered.
Oof.
That's
So
how
that
my face is right now.
fuck that blows.
It's funny because I have a light bar right now, Cody,
Hell yeah. Keep
and
it
that
going.
light bar is like 4 little dots.
That's
um
fucking awesome.
So I forget what exactly happened after this. It was a convoluted sequence of events, but essentially I remember we ended up picking up Timmy, Raph, or not Timmy, Tim Gibson, Raph, and everyone else after that, and we bombed on down to Crawdaddy because it was starting to get late in the day.
Yeah.
Crawdaddy is a very, very sad former shell of what it used to be.
I'm not
Like,
surprised.
They were good.
Like,
I
It
liked
used to be a lot better. Richie, am I wrong in saying that it used to be better, or
I remember it as the 1-ton rigs that we were with back in 2014 had to work their asses off to get up it. But I mean, that's also like a 10-year-old memory, so
yeah.
take that with a grain of salt.
Also, like, now that I look back on that too, back when we were there, 37s were the big tire that was out there.
Yeah,
Um,
37s were like the big dick swinging tires.
so we're no longer in that era, and I guess that changes things. But all of the rock from up top the trail has come down into the actual obstacle, which has made the obstacle easier as well. It has the opposite problem of Shoot the Moon. Shoot the Moon spit all the rocks backwards and out of the obstacle. These got all shot into the obstacle, making it easier.
oh, okay.
Yeah, like the run up to it's now all like a foot and change worth of fucking hard pack 6-inch diameter stone. So it's like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's
Weird.
it's a fucking blue at this point. It's not a red. Richie's Jeep would have had a good time coming up it.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately, Richie ended up staying down there. Raph, Tim, Curtis, myself, everyone just kind of like blew through it. People are now just driving over the boulder in the center of it to make it harder.
I mean, that's kind of what we did 2 years ago too.
Yeah, but
We tried to play
it's
on
worse now as far as like the actual trail just getting easier. And it's really weird to say that, but like that trail has gotten way easier in my mind.
Huh.
It's not worth the drive over there anymore. Maybe it wasn't worth the drive over there, and I'm looking back with rose-colored glasses, but I'll let you all decide that.
Oh yeah, Mr. Sticky's coilovers front and rear. Oh, it's weird. This obstacle got easier.
The Jeep was working.
That's what I'm saying. It
Um,
might just be that your vehicle is just so much more than what it used to be that you're just noticing the huge improvement since it's like a direct comparison of like what you had and now what is.
Yeah.
Because you've done
So
that trail with coiled
once.
front. Wait,
No, that's the first time I've done it. Every
really?
year
Okay.
before that, I've gotten cucked out of it and had to go ride up it with like Colin and Graham and all of them. That's always been something we did on the last day, not on the first day.
I'm
So
glad we did it early because I hate that trail. It's such a pain to get to. It's really not that interesting or fun. And it's got one ledge that's remotely interesting, and the rest of it is boring.
It's rock garden, right?
not even.
No? Wait, maybe I think
No.
of Tombstone. I think Tombstone is like the rock garden with like the
Tombstone's
weird.
fun.
We
That's
didn't end up
cemetery.
over
Oh
there.
yeah, no, you are talking about
Cemetery,
Tombstone.
cemetery.
Tombstone is a ton
Oh.
of fun. We didn't hit that one this year, and it made me sad.
Oh.
It wasn't for a lack of trying on my end. I wanted to go and run that on Sunday, but yeah.
You blowed up.
It was very blowed up, and I was very blowed up.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up going back to camp, and that was another one of those misty, rainy, kind of bullshitty nights where we made burgers and like hung out and, did the usual thing. But like everyone kind of stayed in their own groups, which was a little weird, but the weather was also Yeah, the weather was kind of shitty though, so like I don't blame people for just not wanting to go wandering around.
Nah, y'all just needed the life of the party there to bring everybody together. You guys are missing out.
I
Shame.
can't control what he does
Yeah, fuck that guy. He sucks.
sometimes, but other times he's okay. So, that night we didn't really have anything to go and fix. I think I did a quick bolt check and just everything was good to go. And then first thing we did the next morning was shoot the moon. And so we just punched it into Onyx, headed on out. I picked up Mike Heisenberger, aka Heisenberg.
Mhm. X-ray guy, right?
Yeah, XJ Mike. Or not
Yep.
XJ Mike, I'm sorry. Renix
Wrong Mike.
XJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Renix XJ, not XJ Mike. XJ Mike was in
No, I
ops,
was just
nowhere to be found.
saying he has
Yeah.
an X-ray. My apologies.
Yeah, no, I got the signals crossed in my brain. So I picked him up and threw Tina into Richie's Jeep, which has disastrous consequences for later.
It did not. Him being in the Jeep for the ride had nothing to do with it.
True. But I do have to throw some shade at Renix XJ or Renix Mike over here. Mr. I'm down for whatever flops are going to happen was suspiciously absent when we started going into Shoot the Moon.
Yeah, I mean that is one of those obstacles that throws you on your side. You gotta be ready for it. But he also doesn't have a cage though, right?
Well, he
He
didn't
was
have his
riding
Jeep.
with me.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
He was my passenger princess.
Well, yeah, you were dragging his ass through the fucking mud, man, with no doors. Of course he's gonna be a little bit weary.
Hey,
He didn't
got
even get a
doors.
chance to do that. He hopped out before I even got into
He was
the
getting
obstacle.
videos. He was doing the videography.
Okay, fine.
He got a bunch of good ones from Shoot the Moon.
He did. I will give credit there, but I'm just throwing a little playful shade at him because fucking.
And I think I took more pictures of
can't-
your rig on its side because I was like, Luke's almost flop. It's kind of cool. You can use it as a cover picture.
Which I did.
Yeah, and I used I took a boatload of pictures of it of every phase, and it wasn't a flop. It was just a fucking side hill.
It was just on its side. That's all.
Who got it more on its side, me in West Virginia or him in Shoot the Moon? That's the real question.
I'm
You were-
gonna
yeah, I
take
think you might
that
have
one.
known. Yeah.
I dented the roof bars and scuffed up the B-pillar support tube on the actual halo. So I think that if I'm hitting 6 inches away from the edge of the halo, that counts for a little bit more on its side than
Yeah,
West Virginia.
door. Yeah, all right. I'll give it to you.
I am slightly proud of that one. It was the low talent light was fucking blaring because I watched Graham. I hopped out to take a look at it because the big boulder that used to be the run up that you would put your tires onto.
The left side there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
ended up moving over to the right side. So it was below that boulder on the right side, and I'm like, all right, well, I know the line to get through this motherfucker with the boulder over there. Let me go and hop out. And I'm like, all right, cool. You just drive the tire up the left side ones, and you're going to have to loop yourself in. And while I'm figuring that out, Graham hops in and does exactly that.
The line has never changed for that first section. It has always stayed the same. You stay further left than you want or than you think you need to, so you get your ass where you need to be, and then you just hit it with a little bias towards the driver's side, but not much. And I just walked right through it.
I just want to.
Luke still managed to fuck it up after watching me get through it effortlessly.
I just want to point out the fact that it took Graham a whopping 25 seconds to get up and over. And as he is progressing off the obstacle, I leaned down and said to him, "Watch Luke take 45 fucking minutes to do this."
You did it.
Well, my question is like I was watching that video, and obviously, hindsight's 2020, right? But in the video, you are on your side, and you're only going straight and left. Why didn't you want to go right and pull the front up that hill and level out
It
the
wasn't
rig?
gonna straighten itself out.
No.
Yeah.
He did try. I don't know if the videos show it, but he did try all the directions. We had him doing stuff. He was on his side for a minute. We were like, try this way, try this way. And it just
Yeah, it ended up being one of them situations where if I had my wheels cut all the way to the passenger side, the Jeep stopped moving. Just entirely stopped moving, and I figured that some form of movement was good because it wasn't going to go any further than, like, it's already on its side. What's it gonna do? It's there. If I can get some form of movement, maybe I can back out or like get it to kind of like start pivoting the rear tire down and like pull itself back over. Now that I say that out loud, I realize that it wasn't going to do that. My only option was to back out, but that was the thought at the moment in the Jeep.
Well,
And backing
In-
out for pussies, so you weren't gonna do that.
In your defense too, Luke, if it's still moving, you're not stuck.
I was stuck. I
No.
will.
You were not stuck. You were still fucking moving. You drove backwards out of it. You weren't stuck.
So I ended up just denting the fuck out of everything. I bent the door bars. They're not terribly bent, but they're bent in now, and I'm kind of like a little salty about it. But I knew that that was a consequence of my own actions and how I built them. And like, okay, cool, whatever. They did their job. I have to either add more bracing or cut it out and redo it. Either option's entirely acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But it broke the hub on its side, as these
Good.
things happen,
Yeah.
it was funny.
That was stuck in the air. The fucking like tenth of a millisecond. It touched something. It fucking popped the hub.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
I
literally
think
in the air, spinning, not even that fast. Touches rock, breaks, goes back into the air. It was sad.
yeah, it was not a good trip. I've been thinking about that a lot as far as the hub situation goes, because that's just not good. So I can't remember if this is the second or the third hub at this point in time, but there's been.
Second hub.
So this is my second hub. Okay. So I showed up with the 2 good hubs in the Jeep and a spare set of hubs, and I had slugs on the way. So, no big deal. I swapped the fucking hub out. I go up the trail. I followed Graham's line with a little bit more spotting, and like it just worked. We go up there. Jason, Nick, Curtis, Logan, all them are bombing up trail with somewhere between me breaking the hub on my side and getting up the obstacle, they appeared.
Wait, Jason? He actually
Yeah.
Ramsey, he ended up coming?
He was
Good,
there
good,
for a
good.
day.
Hell yeah.
So they end up coming up it, and everyone ends up almost putting their Jeep over like I did. Graham was the first person through and was the only person to like directly walk it. So we're just gonna chalk that up to beginner's luck.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't beginner's luck. I've done that trail quite a few times, and it was.
All right, first Drake's luck. Sorry if it's not beginners.
Yeah, you didn't
first
put the
Drake's
dirt.
luck.
You put the dirt on the rocks, and that's the problem.
The red
It's not your
labels
fault.
don't have any tread to throw dirt.
Yeah, you do. You actually do have tread on those. It's not like they're fucking Sean's where it's literally a baby's bottom.
Yeah, well, Sean's spare is literally mine. That's my bald ass red, and I want it back.
It sounds like you should be telling Sean.
I was a
that,
little
not
nervous
me.
all weekend not having a spare, but unlike every other tire I've run, the red labels don't give a fuck. Everybody's
Hey,
like the sidewalls suck, but maybe it's just the
Driver.
the old stock had better sidewalls. I don't know how to describe it. I was actually talking with somebody about it.
Those aren't old
Um,
stock. Those are like 2014.
Yeah,
Like
that's
10
old.
years.
That's
That's
like 10
old.
years old.
No, because the ones that are on Sean's are like 09s.
Yeah, those ones are too old. I don't know how to describe. I mean, honestly, you just vulcanize them and they're fine. But those ones, the issue with those are they're peeling the retread off, and where it peels and meets, it's ripping the intersections out. So it's not actually like tearing holes off, but when it grabs it, it's just there's not enough meat left underneath there to do anything but go right through the sidewall tread area. It's kind of
Gotcha.
right at
Yeah.
that corner, if you could consider that the corner on a red label.
Yeah. So we got to watch all the buggy guys come through there, and that was cool. Where Graham went to the far left side of the exit, I just could not get it to quite stick, and there was quite a bit of rev limiter involved with that, but I did not end up backing down and taking the bypass trail. It just ended up deciding that it wanted to go right instead of left, and I just kind of let it go right instead of left because I didn't have a spare hub with me. At this point, I only had brought one. I'd broken both of my spares at this point. And like I just was down to what was in the axle. So I bopped out of there. Let's see. Logan made it right on up without any problems, and Tim Gibson blew up a 1410 rear drive shaft
Did he
in
catch
there.
on fire this weekend?
Yes.
God, what's up with him and fire? There's like a weird, like he's almost Marvella at this point with catching on fire. That's crazy.
I don't know what his deal is, but him catching on fire is in a couple minutes. We haven't gotten to that point
Sorry,
yet.
sorry, I got excited.
So Graham just fucking like did the Graham thing when he's the first person on trail and bebops up everything, and it goes good. I made it up. Logan makes it up. Tim's broken in there, so he ended up having to back out and pull the rear drive shaft, and we decided to go back to camp after this. Now there's this white ZJ that we kind of picked up, who is one of Mike's buddies, who's on 37 Katai mud hogs.
What the fuck is that?
I think they're a Taiwanese tire. But he ends up with us, and he came through the hard side of Shoot the Moon, and then he came up the bypass side of Shoot the Moon's exit. So he ended up back at camp with us. And more Ford drive shaft parts got passed around. Again.
Okay.
So we ended up putting a 1350 in Tim's rig out of parts from Logan's stockpile of just junk drive shaft stuff. And it just worked out perfectly fine. All good there. 14 bolt didn't give a fuck. And we went back out across the street. That's kind of where disaster struck for breaking another hub for me. But Richie ran a red, which was
I did.
cool.
Which red?
F.
F.
Oh, I don't think I know F off of name. If I saw
I'm
it,
pretty
I'm
sure
sure I
that's
would
just
know.
that's a ledge, right?
F is
It was a whole trail.
yeah, it's like a series of obstacles that you can like kind of bebop up.
So if you go across the street, you have N1, I think, or N4, and some other green trail that they split almost immediately, and then they go way around and circle back to each other. And everywhere in between that is the F red trails.
So we drop into F red. We've got Tim. Trying not to tell too many of Tim's stories here. Logan, this Comanche that we picked up, where the guy posted the picture in the event on Facebook of him saying he was bringing the Comanche that he just bought. He's from New York. and he was with us. And at Shoot the Moon, he blew the gasket out of the bottom of the steering box for the sector shaft gasket, I think it's called. Graham, am I right on that?
Yeah, sector shaft seal right at the end.
Yep. So he blew that out. He just kept throwing fucking ATF and motor oil and whatever else at it to get it to go, because only when you turn right did it leak. When you turn left, it wouldn't leak. So he was with us, and we ended up doing all of F-Red from the bottom to the top. It was a fucking dope-ass trail to do. I blew my hub up on the second or the third ledge and had to winch my way on out of there, and no big deal there. Just winched out and like,
I believe it was the second ledge.
yeah. And so it's like lunchtime now, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go bebop on back to the parking lot. I'm supposed to have hub show up at like 3:30. It's like 1:30. All right, whatever. You know, Tony's gonna get here whenever Tony gets here. It's Tony time. Well, my hubs never ended up showing up, so I ran F-Red, and that was the last trail of my weekend.
Why was Tony supposed to bring you hubs?
Slugs.
Oh, but then he never showed up?
He showed up Sunday morning, and I blew it up Sunday morning right after putting the hubs in.
Happens.
Uh,
That does happen.
We'll get to that at some point in time, but I'm sure Graham and Richie have some shit that they want to talk about from their endeavors.
So hold on, let me. I mean, I think that's fucking sick. Now, are you happy with your decision of going with the coilovers in the front? Like, do you really feel like it made that much of a difference that it was worth the time and effort?
It's cool. The rig fucking bombs. It will comfortably outdrive me with my current steering setup, and that ended up being the downfall.
Of what, trying to go fast?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
trying to
haven't
go
gotten
fast.
your,
No,
fucked
no,
my
no,
weekend.
no. Steering be damned. Your distributor is holding you back.
Well, we'll get to that. The rig comfortably, like we hit, or there was a couple of points in time where I ended up on the Line Mountain racetrack portion of things, and like no one's on that side of the park because the park's half dead because it was like a crappy weekend as far as the weather out forecast goes. So I was able to comfortably cruise in fifth at rev limiter through that section. It did just fine. The rig rides really nice. It's made a lot of things that the suspension does feel massively better, but it's also got its own little caveats too. Like the body's more stable now, but it doesn't tell you when it's tired until it just falls off of itself. Like there's a point where the body just now decides that I'm done, fuck you, and it's on its side.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
mean,
get any.
you had the issue beforehand though. It just I think the front just kept it more stable than you realized, maybe. Like how you
It's weird because it's more stable now until it hits
lock.
that point, and then when it hits that point, it just goes quicker. So,
Yeah,
like,
then
it helped the problem, but it's also made the problem worse at the same time. It's kind of counterintuitive. It's like six of one, half dozen of another.
yeah.
I do wish I'd gone 14s instead of 12s with how aggressive my cut ended up being. If I'd kept it full body, I think the 12s would have been a better option, but, you know, we're here now.
Mm-hmm.
I have plans to unfuck that situation, but those plans are going to require some time and some elbow grease to get there.
Hell yeah.
It's stupidly stable until it's not now. And it just continues to reflect that. The performance at speed is fucking wild. The extra 2.5 inches of up travel are like a night and day difference compared to having only 2.5. You know, when you say that it like doubled, it doesn't make sense until you're like, oh fuck, no, it's actually fucking doubled. They cut
yeah.
this trail called Fruit Loop too. Fruit
Oh,
Loop,
so they made it for you.
yeah, Fruit Loop is right by the comp course. It's a fun little like just drop in. It would be a red for Jeeps, but like for a New England trail rating or a Southern trail rating, it would be a mild black.
Okay.
It did really well in there. There's a couple of like really big little, huh? They're like 4-foot steps stacked on top of each other where you're like just using both sides of the suspension, and it just went right up that with the body perfectly level. On the comp course, you know the spot where it's like the stepped set of ledges?
Yep. Yep.
It drove sideways up that.
Oh shit! Hell yeah.
So like it's more stable than it was by a lot, but when it goes, it just goes.
Blew a hub up too, there, didn't you?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm wondering if did you change your
Yeah, so that's
suspension at
3.
all? Like, did you
No.
change
Is
like
that-
the geometry?
That's 4. Or
Oh,
I'm
that was
sorry,
the
that's
4th
3.
one.
Because
Yeah,
I
that's
blew
what
up
I thought.
3. I didn't touch the geometry at all. The geometry is still the exact same that it is.
Okay, I was just curious. Yeah, because like if I didn't know if you had maybe changed it and then now you're like it's actually pushing weight down the way it should or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That seems interesting that now it just all of a sudden you come up to New England and you're like, oh, well, PA's not New England, but close enough. You come up to the Northeast and you're just like, oh, blow up, blow up, blow up. Like,
It was just the traction, dude. Like the rocks were super grippy, and them being wet all weekend was not a negative. It ended up because it's all like fucking mining rock, just keeping the dirt and shit off of them. You either couldn't get up on them, or if you could get up on them, they had enough traction that you pulled through. We ran every red. Like, I'm missing the little gaps in there where we decided to go and play on the blacks and the reds, just fucking around throughout the weekend. Because we ran every red on the non tombstone side of the normal side of the park, if that makes sense.
no.
We did. So,
Okay.
like, if you go out past the comp course, we did every red except for the tombstone and cemetery on that side of the park. Those are the only two, and Crawler Ridge. Those are the only ones that we missed in the 2 days that
Okay.
I had a rig together. So, you know, some of the reds just got blended in there because with the amount of traction we had, that they were nothing burgers. Like, not even worth writing home about. And maybe that ties into a thought that I've been having about Roush, and I think I share it with a couple of the other people that were there. It's a sick Jeep park, but I don't know if we quite qualify for having Jeeps anymore.
Hey, you're forgetting.
I disagree. You didn't hit V Notch. You didn't hit O Trail, did you?
True. True.
Both of those are not Jeep
V-Notch,
obstacles.
I will
There's a
agree
lot of
with you.
ledges there, and you didn't hit the right side of Trail 5. I think there's a lot that you're glazing over there that
You didn't
we
hit
just
the
kind of
right
take
side
for
of Trail
granted.
5 either, did you?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I was just saying that it's there.
That is
At
true.
the time we were over there, and in the situation, my Jeep didn't break, but I bent a leaf spring on the driver's side, and it like torqued it up, and there was a spot in affliction that I should not have been tippy, and it nearly dumped me because that leaf spring's like jacked up to fucking at that point. Like when we brought it back to camp, it was at like monster truck level lift, and it kind of settled itself out, but I didn't want to put tire on that with that leaf spring being weird, because it was. I knew it had been acting weird, and then we looked at it and it was weird. I didn't know that was what was causing it. I just figured I'd bottomed out that suspension and unloaded. But the ledges there always fuck my leaf springs up. every time we go.
Too much
I
weight.
did put tire on O Trail though. Had the motor not been so, the motor I've got in it isn't a bad motor, but it bogs down at high RPMs to the point where it won't hit rev limiter sometimes. And my steering is a factory XJ pump. I have a different pump to try. I'm gonna put in. I've got a PSC pump. I know that's to the detriment of the radiodynamic stuff. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stay with the CBR pump. I've heard bad things about it. I've heard okay things about it. It has a reservoir attached to it, so it doesn't seem to leak. So that's a positive in my book. As far as bolt on and perform better. But yeah, it was just a combination of steering acting up. I was slamming my unrelocated calipers on the back of the ledge as I fell backwards, so one of them bent the slide pins and then nicked the brake line. So I still had brakes, but they felt awful. So I ultimately had to back down. But I hit that thing in like the midsection of O Trail for, it had to be a solid 10, 15 times, and it was just the power. I just didn't have the power to keep it rotating fast enough. And it's not necessarily that it needs to be sustained, because my suspension just doesn't like certain ranges of speed on those wheels. It just, the whole thing bounces because leaf springs and whatnot. So it ends up not working.
Oh, bouncing.
Yeah, so it ends up just not working. So you kind of have to modulate it. This is not one where I wanted to do that, but I just didn't have the power to actually get up. I had the traction. Traction was there. I just didn't have the power or the tire size. I mean, those things are like basically 37s, and there's this lip that you have to bump up. And I could hit that lip, but instead of continuing forward, it would transfer all my momentum up. And then I would just, it wouldn't work. Now, if I had more forward momentum or, up and forward momentum, it might have actually gone up. I can't say for sure. But it felt really good. It just didn't want to go. And that was a theme on a couple spots. My rig wanted it, but it wouldn't do it. And then, if I got bound up, my steering was a pain in the ass. So that put me in some annoying spots a couple times. And then, the motor just not being happy. It runs cool. It doesn't have any problems. It just doesn't have any power. So
Yeah.
there's no amount of gearing can make up for that traction and just wheel rotational force that it's trying to do while you're going up a fairly vertical ledge. I don't know how steep those things are, but they're not they're steep enough. They put you back. So
Yeah. I
I'd
would agree with that.
I'd wager that ledge you were on Devil's Den was like in the 35-degree range.
yeah, and
that's one.
That one got steeper as we went up too, and I didn't realize that. I had no shot once I made it past the section that I was at, but it really wanted the spot where I was just sitting there.
Fuck yeah, it did.
It was this false sense of like, oh yeah, you got this, and then we winched it up, and I was like, and there was some miscommunications because I wasn't sure if I was even gonna have the traction when they took the winch off after I got to the where the first tree was. So I'm sitting there at probably the steepest point of this thing, and Luke's he doesn't hear me, and didn't hear what I had said previously. Whereas I don't know if I'm gonna slide back. I might spin wheel and just lose all my traction again and slide all the way back down. Fortunately, that didn't happen, but it didn't feel good. And I wasn't gonna make him unwind the winch again.
All I heard from you was like, "Am I good?" And I thought I gave you like a thumbs up. And
I don't know.
You were like, I'm spotting you on this, and I just look back and I'm like, is he gonna do anything? Just fucking went there and like undid this winch.
Well,
now like
the frame of reference here too is my brakes, while they're functional, the pedal feels like it does nothing. Like my foot goes to the floor and yeah, it stops, but it doesn't feel good. I had just
Yeah.
been sliding on a less steep section that I had burned my tires on and dried off a little bit. So I didn't really have any high expectations for being able to
And then it
move
just
on
went.
that. But it went. Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, you were like perfectly free with all four tires just like sitting on the ledge. You were just at an angle and they wanted to bite. What was fucking you before was you were trying to come up an undercut that just like was 38.5 inches in diameter and you have 37.9-inch reds. So like they just weren't coming up that one section and I was like, all right, cool. He's just gonna, because you started driving up the winch cable. And so I'm like, all right, cool. He's driving up the winch cable. He stopped here. All right, cool. We'll disconnect it. Obviously, if he stopped there, he's good enough to get, or he's got enough traction to go.
Yeah, I hadn't tested that yet.
And so, like, that was my view looking back at that. And then I'm like, all right, cool. He'll just, bebop on up this section. It's going to be great. I'm going to get the fuck out of the way. Because I'm in the fucking way right now. And, you don't want to be in the fucking way. So I'm trying to get out of the path of a Grembino that has just done a third gear clutch dump burnout fucking show and like expecting him to just come and pop up over it. And instead he goes to like start crawling this and not just beating on it. And that like all kinds of fucked up vibes there.
Because it felt awful.
So he ends up getting up there and then like trying to come off of that. I felt bad for you because that ended up being a fucking shit show getting you off of the top of that rock that you were on. It breaks over kind of hard, and the way it breaks over, there's a diagonal and the passenger side feels like it just wants to drop away. Well, it's only going to drop a foot. And like you shouldn't go over with the level of drop from looking at it outside, but I'm going to imagine in the cab that must have felt like shit.
Yeah, I mean, I could feel it teetering. Like I knew that was as far as I was going that way, depending on how far the drop was on that passenger side. But I couldn't see it.
It was
just
only
dropped
a
off.
foot.
Yeah, but it didn't. It
did not feel like that.
No, I didn't know. I wasn't gonna chance that, especially after it already tried to dump me not 15 minutes earlier, doing that same exact thing with that side. So
he ends up making it through there. Curtis decided that he wasn't going to eat his Wheaties that day.
no, he didn't even try.
I really wanted to see Curtis try that same fucking ledge. But
I really wanted to try that fucking ledge.
He didn't.
Wheel drive, so
He probably could have done it, honestly.
Curtis, maybe, but
We'll
you're
never
giving
know, 'cause
him too much.
He didn't even try. He didn't even put tire on it.
You're giving him too much credit. He's a good dude, even if he's a shitbag that can't give fucking directions.
the Comanche even had tires on Devil's Den too.
Who?
The Comanche.
Oh yeah, it did.
I had tire on Devil's Den.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
On the exit.
Yeah.
So
It was the exit, but it was still Devil's Den, so fuck you, Graham.
So for reference here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cody.
No. Go ahead. You can keep going. I was just so.
I'm just bebopping around in 3-wheel drive at this point because, like, I can't get a hold of Broncoish, and I'm not going through someone's trailer. Like, I just kind of casually skimmed over where, like, I thought the hubs might be, and I'm not going to start digging into someone's trailer to find shit. Like,
unless it was like
permission.
Yeah, or like unless it was like me, Graham, or Collins, where you're just like, fuck them anyways.
No, I still wouldn't do that to them.
Really?
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
care. If I told you to grab something.
Call Graham to ask him for permission to go into his camper and look for bread.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where if I don't know how I would feel about someone doing it to me. I'm not gonna go and do that to them because, like,
Mhm.
I'm kind of the way that stuff gets loaded into my Jeep. If I'm getting tools or anything else out, right, it's very specific. So I don't want to fuck with someone's very specific way that they pack their trailer, unless they're like, yeah, dude, the hubs are in the toolbox. They're below this. You're gonna have to pull that out, and like, don't worry about it. Just slap them in, put everything back, seal the ammo can, and like that, you're good to go. Whatever. I couldn't get a hold of him to get that level of permission though, or told where they were, and like it's just not who I am to go through people's shit. I don't want people doing that to me. I'm not gonna ever fucking do that to anyone else. It's just a reasonable rule I live by. So I'm in 3-wheel drive out here spotting Graham and Curtis, and Richie's just bebopping around, and we had a grand old time. We did Devil's Den, and they ran Affliction, which was cool. We
Yeah,
got
Affliction was
lost.
fun.
We got lost.
Terrible communication.
Yep.
Fuck terrible.
I fell out of Talisman the whole fucking way down. That was not fucking fun. Let me tell you. So at Talisman, there's a greenish bluish bypass that's just like loose dirt and some rocks thrown in there. Dude, I was in third gear fucking beating on it, trying to make it up to the top of that to get back to the main road to get back to Devil's Den. And I fell all the, like, a good 90 feet back down this obstacle.
What you are glossing over the fact, Luke, is you were at the top.
Yes. I was
You
at
were
the very top, with the last rock being the one that cucked me.
and you got cucked so fucking hard.
But like, I was beating on it so hard the Jeep was hopping up and down in third gear, just sitting on fucking limiter and 3-wheel drive, not going any fucking where. These things are pathetic when all the wheels don't get traction. Being open up front would have been better than 3-wheel drive when I needed the driver's side wheel to fucking do something.
Yeah.
So then we went back up with them, and that was great. You already heard the Devil's Den
So-
shenanigans.
Okay, let's dive into something that happened with Grambino. What where did you roll? Where did you flop it?
That was in church.
Crucible.
Relax. Sorry, he's freaking out. That was yeah, that was in Crucible, and I mean, wasn't really any like anything over the top. It was in the.
That was hilarious.
So I don't know if you remember, Cody. Were you there last time we were at Roush?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know
Where I was
where
dying.
like the first section of Crucible where you like go in. It's a tiny trail, but the
Yeah.
first section where you go in and you're in that like rock garden sort of area, and there's the upper section which is easier, and the lower section.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I was waiting. I was
No,
waiting
okay.
for some positive confirmation. So previously I'd never done the lower half because people in 42s were getting bound up in it, and I was like, oh, I don't even want to bother. But this time, I don't
Tim
know.
Gibson and Raph were spotting.
Yeah, but it honestly got through everything up to that main section easier than I expected. I figured I'd be like grabbing stuff with my tie rod and all the other crap down there a lot more. But I mean, it really is just where you put your tires. It doesn't really matter. If you can just be stupider with 42s. So I made it all the way to like that. Yeah. I made it all the way to like that rock in the tree, and like it's literally, I think if you remember the Broncoish video, that rock that he's on is to the right of what this like boulder tree combination thing is. And I was literally right there, like lined up in a pretty decent spot. And Tim was spotting me, and he was like, just go a little bit to the right of the tree. So I was like, okay, and that's what I
Graham
thought I
fucked that
did.
up.
But my
No.
between my steering not doing the thing, so it was like giving me like feedback, like my wheel was fully turned, even though it wasn't. And that plus I just misjudged where my tire was on that tree. It stuck out way more because the whole thing, as everybody knows, it crab walks like crazy. If you're behind the thing, it's not straight. It's like it's got its own little.
About that.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Does
not
mine
straight.
track straight?
Gotten worse.
Well, yeah, bending the leaf spring's not gonna help that.
And it was, of course, it's the wrong side leaf spring to like level it out or even it out. So it's way sideways. It just doesn't. It was just way further than I expected it to be, and I think that tire pokes out a little more, anyways. So I misjudged it, and instead of going to the right of the tree, I just drove up
He
the
went
tree.
to the left. No,
Yeah, I drove
you
up
didn't
the
even
tree.
drive up the tree. Your inside of your tire is what drove up the tree.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, and I just did that, and I kind of hit it with a little bit of gusto, and it just kind of went over.
So I'm not trying to steal your thunder here, but it was really funny because as that happened, Tim looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, he did exactly what I told him. Just he fucked it up and got the wrong side of the tree." And then we're like, "Is Alexis in there? Alexis is in there. Fuck."
Yeah. So we're sitting there on our side. She's like, "Where's my phone?" I was like, "Let's focus on getting out before we find our phone. I'm sure it's around here somewhere." Yeah. So that was fun. She enjoyed that. She, was, I don't know if I'd say looking forward to rolling, but I think it definitely was. It's something you always kind of want to have happen, and it was a light enough one where it was kind of fun. It wasn't like a hard hit. So
Yeah, it was good. It was
Sorry.
You're good. Welcome back. It was the perfect level of roll to bring someone into it with, like, it was
Yeah,
nice and gentle onto its side and like nothing crazy happened. But it was
No.
funny as fuck because she comes out of there with her vape and she's like, "I didn't drop my vape and I found my phone." And we're like, "You got to get out of this thing." Fuck the.
Graham, did you
know.
tell them what she asked you at the end of the trail? So she
Did she
vented
ask-
to me the other day, and I'm gonna air it because it's funny. She was like, I was kind of perturbed with Graham. She's like, because afterwards, I was a little frazzled. It wasn't frazzling, but she was like, I've never been in that position before. So afterwards, I was like, I asked him, like, what should I do? And he goes, I don't know, unbuckle. I was like, that's a valid point. Yeah, you definitely unbuckle first.
What should I do? I don't know. I was in like it's all business when you roll. It's just, unbuckle,
Yeah,
get out. I'm not thinking about the other components. I'm thinking about turning the Jeep off so I don't totally ruin my motor. And then getting out and all those things. And it just didn't click with me that she's she knows how the harnesses and all that stuff work, but she's never had to take them off while she's sideways in the thing. So I definitely came off a little harsh because I was just in full on business mode. I wasn't fucking around. And yeah, it is what it is. She was a little peeved at me about that. She was like, "Curtis had to ask me if I was okay." I was like, "You were looking for your phone. I knew you were okay."
Yeah, it sounds like you're like,
You're
ow, my
good.
arm hurts.
I didn't need to ask. I had visual confirmation that you were completely fine. So yeah.
I just thought the whole unbuckle thing was just so funny. I was just like,
honestly,
that is step
I don't
number
even
one.
remember saying that. It's just like I said, I was on my own mission doing things. That's funny.
So good. I
But
love
yeah,
that.
it was good. And then
That is definitely a damn thing to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Analytical to the point. Do this.
Oh, that Graham said it in.
So I will empathize with her a little bit because, like, I didn't realize just how much of a son of a bitch it is to unbuckle in those fucking situations. So like when I put it over on Shoot the Moon, I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm just gonna pop the oh fuck, it's trying to throw me clean out of this fucking seat.
Yeah, tighten your harnesses more, bud.
Luke, I would have laughed at you so fucking much if you unbuckled yourself and you fucking hit the ground.
I
would
had
have
the
sat there laughing.
I had the brains to grab the B pillar and the door bar.
I
You know-
wish you
It is, and I don't know which side you were on the top, right? You weren't on the bottom when you were trying to unbuckle.
I was on the top, yeah.
Yeah. Now, having gone on both sides, it is definitely harder when you're on the bottom side. It just it's not any different. It just feels tighter. So then you kind of, I don't know, it just feels more difficult.
You
On the
kind of
side
get a
that
weird
rolled.
feeling about it.
Yeah, because you're not where you're supposed to be, and you're on the ground, and you can't open your door. So it just you kind of freeze up. I didn't really. It just sort of came back to me because of the whole when I rolled it at Good Evening. That's the side I landed on, and I've rolled it on the passenger side twice now, at least twice that I'm counting.
I'm
and
counting
both
my time.
times-
Fuck you. Out of
and
all
both
of
times,
the fucking. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, and both times when you're passenger side down, driver side up, it's easier. I don't know why. I've never had an issue where it's like I feel like I'm gonna fall out. I must grab the tube on the outside or something and just unbuckle. But you can't really do that on the bottom. You have to grab the
steering
ground.
wheel to catch your lap. You know
That
what I
too.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you won't really like go knee to face where a passenger is just gonna like there's no stopping the knees from like unless you purposefully put your legs in the right spot to stop yourself from doing that.
Yep.
You could just curl up in a ball and next second you're just like, "Hep, please, somebody get me out of this." Like,
So my son of a bitch with it was getting back into the rig when it was on the high side. I found that to be a fucking bitch.
well, yeah, usually you flip it over first. Usually.
Well, I didn't flip mine back over. I had to get back into it on the high side. And drive out of it. So that was not pleasant for me because I'm trying to like hold the fucking harnesses together and hold myself back far enough in the seat, like by putting my knees like into the steering wheel and like pushing off of that and trying to get that stupid thing to latch. And of course, you're trying to put all 5 on because you're already on your side. So where's it going to go from there?
Further.
It's either going to go onto its roof or it's going to go back onto its wheels. There's no like, you know what I mean? I'd rather have the fucking full harness on if I'm going to go onto my roof, and it wasn't going to go onto its roof now that I look at the footage and all that, but it doesn't feel like that when you're in it.
Yeah.
So it was funny. I caught a really, really good photo from that. It was, I think, Tim, Graham, Curtis, and Alexis all just like looking at the situation like what the fuck from being on top of the Jeep. And fucking Curtis is just giggling like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I forget who I was saying after, or what. We were just looking at the pictures. Like, of course, Curtis is just like hopped up on my Jeep. Like,
Everyone was hopped up on your Jeep at some point in there.
I know.
Tim was super fucking nice about getting Alexis out. He was like, all right, so I'm gonna need you to put your foot here, and
Yep.
then you're gonna hop down here. It's gonna be like a foot lower, and you're gonna be able to feel like the edge of the sheet metal and the frame rail, and then you're gonna hop from there, and it's just a big old bridge or something like
Yes,
that.
He
And it was
did. He did give her because she was like she didn't know what to do. She didn't want to walk in the door. She was telling me, or maybe she was telling. I forget what we were talking about it. She's like the doors just didn't feel right walking on the doors. It's like they hit
That's a good
rocks.
point,
They're not gonna break.
Yeah, but if you don't know, I kind of get it. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think
no,
it's
it's
like
just-
an
it's-
opening, right? Like
Mhm.
that's a good point. Fuck, I never thought about where me. It's like fuck. I've seen people stomp on those things after they roll over. Like those shits get slammed into rocks. and you drag it
All
across.
off.
Like,
And at the same
yeah.
time, we've seen Curtis's fucking go over and then the door fall off. Like,
Yeah.
I'm helping.
yeah.
Um, and so that was funny. That was right after I blew the motor up, so I was fucking heated. And
Oh wait,
that,
you blew
yeah,
the
you got
motor
grumpy.
up?
yeah.
No, his distributor
Yes.
decided to go for a
Oh
little
no,
walk.
the motor is not happy.
No, it's fine. Your
Needing a
camshaft
head
maybe is messed up.
needing a head gasket because it will not keep coolant in it, and when you put enough coolant in it to get some in the overflow and you start it and it blows right out is not happy.
No,
It's
you
sending
you should have taken my fiber fix or whatever it's called.
It already has that in there,
It
Graham.
clearly needs more.
Needs
It ate it
more.
all.
Yeah, needs more.
As soon as
Yeah.
that stuff touches exhaust gases, it hardens, so it'll make you a new gasket.
It was
Miracle grow.
not. No, it
Self-healing
fucking
head
gave up.
gasket.
It is not self-healing.
It's
It
the gift
gives
that
up.
keeps on giving.
Um, so I suppose that we should preface some of this bit with I forgot to put a overflow bottle in the rig. Like, everything else is getting built and it just kind of got forgotten about, right?
That's important. You need one for a Cherokee. Probably for most vehicles.
Yeah, well,
forgetting one is not a good thing. You do want
it's not
that.
a great thing. So my big brain solution here was I have a Dasani water bottle and I have zip ties and a pocket knife.
God.
I'll just cut the top off and shove the coolant overflow hose down to the bottom of this liter Dasani water bottle. It'll be mint. What can go wrong?
Pressure.
That wasn't a problem.
Oh really?
No.
Just
I
overflowed? Is
cut
it
it wide
overflow?
enough that there was enough vent around the top of the hose that the pressure building wasn't a problem.
Okay.
So
Just watching an
Dave-
inflated Dasani water bottle grow out of the
Just
side of his Jeep.
breathing, sucking and fucking blowing it into the bottle. Just
well, day one we started seeing chunks in the water bottle.
like rusty chunks.
No, like
Probably
metal
head
flake.
gasket maker chunks.
Metal
Mm.
flake in there.
Yeah, no, that's head
and,
gasket maker.
It's head gasket maker and rubber. From the head
Mm.
gasket itself, that was
Head
going
gaskets aren't
into
made
there.
of rubber.
Yeah, they're not made of rubber.
All right, then maybe that's where the metal flake.
Maybe
came
that's your problem. You got a rubber head gasket. You need to get that checked out.
Dang, I
Whatever.
put my valve cover gasket where
You
my
should
head
remember
gasket's
to
supposed
do that head stud upgrade too. Home Depot all thread.
go.
All right, well, fucking besides the goddamn fucking point here. So day one, it's throwing chunks of head gasket in a can and metal flake looking stuff in there, and if you shine a flashlight in it, it's cool because you can just watch it bubbling around in there. Whatever. This won't be a problem later. Turns out that Curtis can't give direction. Now that needs to just be clearly iterated. So I get told, "Hey, we're going down to Armageddon." Okay, cool. That's across the street. I bomb all the way over to the entrance of Armageddon, which is on the opposite side of the park, or that side of the property from Crucible. So then I'm like, "Hey, I'm at, the entrance to Armageddon. Where are y'all at?" We're at Crucible. So I have to bomb all the way around the fucking, because they're at opposing corners of a triangular property with no direct line in between them. So you have to bomb around the top of the property and back down. I fuck up. I fuck up hard. I was driving way too hard because I was pissed because I've been to both sides of the fucking property because I got told to go down to Crucible, then Armageddon, and then back to Crucible. And so I'm coming back down to Crucible and I fucking don't like the 4 turns of steering. It was too slow to respond because there's that extra turn or extra half turn in there and it just felt slow. I hit a berm and popped the nose up over the berm, stalled it in 5th, hit the brakes while it was still airborne, and when it came back down, it went to go and slam start it in 5th with the momentum, and it backfired out the intake real fucking bad. And so I'm like dead on a blue trail trying to like figure out what's going on here. So I end up going to the distributor and I'm like, I don't fucking know why this thing won't run. I loosen it up and I just rotated it on the bolt path, like where it's got the gap in the bolt that you're supposed to center up, until it was all the way against the bolt. Tightened it back down and I started back up, and the Jeep won't rev over 3,000 RPMs. Like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, hand timing is that's not a good suggestion. Just guessing.
It was not running. So it was a better suggestion than sitting there at the in-between point and furthest point from the fucking exit in the property.
See, you always know you're doing it right when you turn it off and it still runs for another 3 minutes until it fucking sputters out. That's when you know your hand timing is on point.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So I get it running again. It won't do over 3,000 RPMs. It's not happy. So I make it up to Crucible, have it out with Curtis, because, like, they're
Means you have to take
opposite
the hang out of
fucking
somebody else.
trails. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and all of this could have been avoided if we had waited 5 minutes, because I went to go and pay, and that's where I got lost. Is I stopped to go and pay, and, you know, in the time it took to hand my card over, ask how my day is going, take the card back and sign, they had left, and Curtis doesn't know where he's going on a good day, never mind a fucking normal day.
Wait, why would they just leave you?
Because I yelled at Curtis that I have to pay and he didn't hear me.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But it wouldn't have been a big deal if I knew to go to Crucible or Armageddon. But
it was the back and forth.
It was the back and forth and the 3 runs across the property and the hours worth of time that got lost in there that led to the problem. And, like, it's not Curtis's fault that I fucked up, but if I had known where to go for the first fucking shot, we would be talking about how I had just grenaded a bunch of stubs, not about how I backfired out the fucking intake, bent a distributor to the point where you can sit there and watch it bouncing back and forth in the fucking housing. Like, the thing's wobbling a good 50 thousandths and will not get up to
I thought he
speed.
was overreacting. He's not. It is wiggling in there. It's weird.
It's very weird.
I think you broke it.
I did break it. It's getting taken apart to see if the head gasket's blown, if the distributor, like, if the camshaft has stripped lobes, and why it's permanently in limp mode, because it's in limp mode right now. It won't get over 3,000 RPMs.
I mean, it
And
could just be
then-
timing. Like, I mean, there is some form of, like, centrifugalness to the firing order, and if it's fucked
Yeah.
right now and it's missing on certain times, I mean, it's gonna do weird shit. So it could be.
Yeah, it's fucked. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I ended up running up there. Like I said, I had a couple of choice words with Curtis about his inability to tell directions. And then Sam, which is Logan Broncoish's wife, came in clutch with some jazz cabbage, and Graham provided comedic relief, and it was great. Graham, excellent timing on the comedic relief, though. I needed that.
I know how to
after that-
de-escalate a situation.
After that, I was chill as a cucumber, or cool as a cucumber. Because it was just funny as fuck. Like, there was no more being pissed about this. And Cody, despite my best efforts, I took your role of getting myself fucking sunburnt and dehydrated.
Oh no! I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yes.
man. Oh,
I drank a case and a half of water by myself and still managed to get dehydrated. And, like, that weird heat stroke kind of shit going on.
yeah.
Where
I
you're
hate that
like,
feeling, man. It's so gross.
yeah, because, like,
Where you
I
feel
don't
shaky
consider
and just
myself.
like
Yeah, and I don't consider myself to be like maybe the most articulate person, and that's stupid because I'm on a fucking podcast. But like, I was having a tough time putting words together, and like,
Yep.
I'm just trying to like catch it, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And of course, like there was some jazz cabbage involved, and Tim goes, "Hey man, are you driving home today?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You gotta like make sure you're good to drive home today." And I'm, the fuck do you mean I gotta make sure I'm good to go home today?
That's like some weird acid moment where you're talking to yourself in the mirror and your mirror self saying, "Hey, buddy, you got to drive home," and you're like, "Huh? Who are you?" Like,
Yeah, and like
what?
I'm not really driving anywhere or doing anything, and like I took a couple of puffs of the you know
He's like,
illicit
"What?"
substance, but like it's illegal in PA and I wasn't driving, and like I didn't think that I was anywhere near that point. And then I got back to camp and it took me drinking 8 water bottles to piss again, and I was like,
8
oh
water bottles?
yeah. I drank
I
8
mean,
water bottles between the time that we
You
got
should have let
back.
us know. Alexis had like the liquid IV stuff.
that's
Dude,
what saved me was that liquid IV that weekend was that liquid IVs like that's gold, bro. When I go wheeling from this point forward, I bring a whole box and I usually end up like going through that whole entire box of liquid IV just because I don't want to fuck up again.
dude,
So
so
bad.
to provide you with context as to how fucked up this situation was, I had 8 water bottles in the Jeep and I drank all of them during this time, and that still wasn't enough to get me rehydrated. Just from the days of being outside and like the days of sleeping in the truck and all
Well,
that
'cause
stuff.
sometimes it's not just water though, you know what I mean? You could be like lack of like salts and electrolytes or vitamins. I mean, all of those things play a factor. You know what I mean? If you're just living off of hamburgers and bread, like that's not always the most
Hamburgers,
appropriate.
bread, and chips is not exactly a balanced
Mm,
diet.
No, and like you're getting older, man. You know what I mean? You're not 16 years old. You can't just live off of whatever your body's making. Sometimes you gotta give your body what
Dude,
it needs. So it's just things that like you gotta consider.
it just caught me off guard though, because like I drank I bought 3 packs of water and I drank a pack and a half of water just by myself. Like Richie, I'm sure you can attest to having seen me repetitively loading the Jeep with only water in it, and that was all I was taking out on the trail. And
Did
a
you
couple of
drink?
like,
Did you
Every
drink?
at camp, you loaded up that fucking little cooler of yours.
yep, and that fits 12 water bottles.
Did you drink alcohol the night before?
I drank alcohol every night there, but in total, I drank from Thursday to Sunday night, grand total of 15 beers
I mean,
and
still though, like
some.
that water could have been just enough to flush the fucking beer through your kidneys and all the fucking filtering organs and shit. You know what I mean? Body reacts
Yeah.
weird, especially to heat and activity.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do different next time, but I know I'm doing a bunch of things different. Liquid IVs going in a bag in the glove box.
It's a fantastic start for sure.
Um, and I felt bad because like I really did not like having that or not the culture shock. What's the appropriate word? But like the
The
dragging,
self-realization.
the self-realization or the dragging back to reality of having Tim, who's like he's a dude that I legitimately like look up to and respect and just think he's like an all-around good dude, be like, "Yo, are you sure you're fucking good, bro?" And I'm not like that
I
cuz he would
hate
never
that.
phrase it like that. But, just him being like, "Dude, you got to drive home. Are you okay? What do you What? Dude, fuck."
Yeah, I hate
um
that feeling, especially so that's why I don't really dabble with the devil's lettuce is because of those moments exactly. Like when you're drinking, it don't fucking matter, you know what I mean? Somebody's like, "You're good, are you good, bro?" And like, nah, but like we're here, dude. Or like when I dabble in the devil's lettuce, it's like or what I used to, pardon me. And if I were to even think that in my head, like, "Bro, you good?" And then it's like, I don't know. Am I good? like that
yeah.
shit fucks with
Well,
me.
and like it just you know, him and Raph, and like, this is gonna be another fucking tangent, and I'm gonna piss some Southerners off, but like, when you've got guys of that caliber being like, hey, you gotta like make sure you're taking care of yourself, it's like, oh, fuck. I'm glad that I am not on the trail. And like, there was a point in there where I was joking around with Tim and Raph, and I was like, hey man, I don't know if I should bring my Jeep through this. And they're like, sounds like you've got fucking a head gasket or timing issues. You're gonna be a trail scap. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing it. Which was the precursor to later events. Everyone left, but I ended up having to idle up Blue Trails to get out of there because I could not put my foot in it without it dying, because it would go too rich and just fall on its face. So that whole thing was very humbling and something that I'm still processing.
It probably wasn't going too rich. It probably was literally just firing at the wrong time, and the fuel was
Yeah.
just getting tossed in and then not igniting.
Yeah, that to be honest with you is most likely the case. But you could just smell fuel coming out the
Yeah.
fucking exhaust, and I'm
I
like,
mean, if you dump enough fuel, at some point it's gonna spark.
No,
Yeah.
that's literally that's how you flood an engine, Graham. When there's too much fuel and it can't ignite because the liquid itself is not flammable. The gases that are produced, that is why you have injectors that
Well, you wanna
vaporize
know what
the
gas
fucking
does?
fuel.
It evaporates. So at some point there's gonna be gases.
You guys kill me. No, that's not how it works,
Yes,
man.
it is.
No.
You put the engine in the motor, and then the spark plugs light it on fire, and then you go.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
That is. Yep. That
Just a
is
slow
how you
burn
do
in there.
it.
So do we want to talk about the end of Crucible and a certain red Jeep at all, or
No, I mean, if it's let's wait because we have other episodes that will probably dabble into this, and if we were considering having him on, then I think that would be a very fun thing for maybe even having both of them on. That could be a fun thing.
okay?
So,
The only thing that I will say that came out of that was probably one of the best utterances I've ever heard while wheeling in the woods with Colin.
oh, of
That
him does anybody have it on video?
Yeah, there's a video.
there's a lot of
Perfect.
videos.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Raph turns and he looks at me and he goes, "You wheel with him?" And I go, "Yep." He goes, that guy doesn't have any mechanical sympathy for that poor thing."
Never has, never will.
And like, I just fucking broke down laughing at that. And there's like a look of abject horror written across Tim's face watching this go down. Meanwhile, like, they're looking at Graham like he should be stopping this because they've already written me off as just the guy that's like probably heat stroking out over there. He needs to like be okay over there. We're making sure he's not like fucking dropping dead right now. He is not involved in this shit show whatsoever. And they're just looking at Graham with like the sad puppy eyes waiting for the
And I'm
abuse
making
to
Colin
fucking
on.
end.
I'm like, you gotta get a little more this way. Try backing completely out of it and come in a little bit more driver.
The typical shit. I will say this. I do give it to Colin. He beats the living fuck out of that Jeep, and somehow it still comes back for more. I don't understand. Like, you look at like Luke, who's granted, yes, stickies, 40s, whatever. But like, you lightly tap your tire after you were just like barely even quarter throttle, snap a hub, and he's just like sitting rev limiter assaulting up a hill, tire pull off the ground, probably got up to mock Jesus while it's off the ground, touches back down, it's just like skirt, and it keeps going. I
I mean, don't give him too much credit. He blew a U-joint up on
Yes.
Crucible right there.
So
really.
So
Well
I
done.
will just go into that, and we're just going to leave it at that because we will talk about this at another point in time. But the U joint goes bang, and Raph just looks at Tim and myself and goes, "It's over." And I'm just like sitting there like,
Yeah, and then of course
It's
they're like,
over.
okay, well let's winch him out, and I'm right behind. I was the last one through, other than him, so I pull up to do it, and I look at my cup holder where my winch controller thingy usually is, and it's not fucking there. So that I felt like a dumbass because my winch controller's on the ground about 50 feet back in Crucible. Gonna go. Me and Alexis were over there looking for it, and they're like, "Does somebody who has a working winch and a controller can they come
And
over here and winch him out?"
I'm over here like, I have a working winch and a direct wired in controller and 3-wheel drive.
Hmm.
Or not 3-wheel drive, no head gasket, and I can't sit at the RPMs I need to run the winch. So that was fun. And Logan came in clutch, and
Yep, Logan got him out.
just yeah, it
Properly
was
functioning winch and controller. We
another
did
fucking
find my winch controller. It was
hell yeah.
just a little too late, but glad we
Uh,
looked then, because otherwise we would have maybe needed it further. Actually, no, I don't know if we would have needed it the rest of that day, but yeah, it would have been shitty to find that out like next trip that it was gone or something.
Oh
So I
yeah, especially the next trip.
Mhm.
so I meander over and I'm like, all right, cool. We're winching Colin backwards, and Raph's running, like giving Logan the hand signals and trying to tell Colin what to do. And he goes, and he looks at me and he goes, "Is he fucking deaf or something?" Because I'm telling him to stop, and all he's doing is clutch dumping it in reverse. That's not fucking helping right now. And like, Raph doesn't strike me as the type to swear. So I'm like, okay. I'm just gonna step in the middle of this awkward fucking triangle we have going on between Colin, Raph, and Logan. And I'm gonna yell at Colin until Colin does what he's supposed to do. And so Raph's like, put it in neutral and don't do a fucking thing right now. Or he wasn't that worked up about it, but like you
No.
could tell that was the underlying like emotion
Wording.
behind it. And he's like, tell him just leave the clutch pedal in or leave it in neutral. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Colin, don't do a fucking thing. Just sit there and enjoy yourself. And fucking we're winching him backwards. And then
But obviously, there, just to preface, like, there was some anxiety on Colin's part because of what he was attempting to do, and it
did
didn't
not
really
work.
pan out how he was hoping.
No.
What?
I just that sucks. If he had this whole plan in his mind, it sucks that he was trying to do everything he possibly could to make it happen.
Yeah,
It wasn't going his way.
I mean, nerves and all that definitely mess with your ability to function things properly. So, like,
Yes.
that has an effect on. I feel like that had an effect on his drive. Also, I think that was the first trail he did the whole weekend.
Yes, it was. He
So-
dropped into a red trail as his first trail. No warm up, nothing like that. It was
And
great.
it's been a minute since he's wheeled that thing.
Yeah. And we ended up having to drag him sideways backwards with the winch cable running against his tire because of where Logan was at, and that added complication. And then we had to pivot the whole nose around, and that added complication. But Raph and myself,
long though. It wasn't that
no, it wasn't bad. Raph and myself were able to get him turned around with a grand total of like 3 words. It was great. It was like, "You good?" "Yes." And then we just got him winched around while I'm giving him, or Colin, in the driver's seat the hand signal for just like, hold the brake pedal, please.
Don't move.
And then a bunch of other stuff happened, and my ill-fated attempt at leaving happened. Richie was gone. These things happen. Richie, are you gone now?
No, I'm still here.
Well, you've been fucking quiet, and you wheeled the goddamn Comanche for 2.5 days, so like, I
You guys were
expected you to
talking
have
about-
some.
You guys were talking about parts that I wasn't there for. So
Yeah,
I was
well, I'm still gonna give you
for it.
shit. You're here. You were wheeling. You're getting shit for it. Just like Cody gets shit for not wheeling, you get shit for not talking. At least Cody's being an active narrator.
I'm trying my best to guide this story.
God, I've talked way too much this
You
episode. I'm
have.
sorry.
Shut the fuck up. Stop talking on a podcast, Luke. God, man. Jeez. Oh, it's so terrible. We should
I
just...
will throw it out there though. It was super cool to go and fucking just meet a bunch of new people. And like some of the interactions that were had were just fucking awesome. There was a dude. Sorry, go ahead,
No.
Richie.
I was just gonna say, I honestly just really enjoyed being out on the trails with both you and Graham again.
Aw, he's so sweet. Look at him being a nice friend.
Maybe
miss my
someday
friends.
Cody will come back out.
Nah, I'm gonna get a bicycle. I'm just gonna ride my bicycle around. That's it.
Dude. I will say that, and this is probably gonna piss off some Southerners.
Yeah, fuck
That
those
wheeling
Southerners.
trip made me homesick for a place that I don't know anymore. I miss like the New England attitude towards wheeling. It was
Interesting. Okay.
it was something else just getting out there with Chris Tarot,
Wait,
Dustin.
Chris and Justin went?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Dustin. Oh my god, sorry, Dustin. Oh my
Dustin.
fucking god, I just
Justin.
Yeah,
but
it's-
like they're just about it, and they were gone, and like Chris
I didn't see 'em
Ayashua
once.
and then them were gone in the morning, and like I talked to Mikey for all of like 2 fucking minutes, and it's like, dude, that was
I think
just
the craziest thing I
wild
saw
watching them.
was Chris's lower control arm just ripping off of that JK.
oh god.
Yeah, just clean ripped the bracket off. Not torn,
Wait,
nothing.
Ayashua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Ayashua was there too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, how much shit did he talk about me?
None.
Damn.
At least I didn't talk to him
He
enough for him to
definitely
bring up
had a
any
few
shit.
words.
Yeah, he had a couple of words to say about you.
Well, he's
but
got my
he
number,
was-
bitch. You can call me at me next time, motherfucker. You want to talk? No, just kidding.
Dude, he was just so about it that they were gone by the park opens at 8. They were out the door at 8:10 at the latest that I
Wow.
saw.
Yep. They're always like that though. They're always early.
Yeah.
They're always early, but they were earlier than normal early for them this time. Tim Gibson, Christina, I forget her fucking name, and I always feel bad about it because she's like super fucking nice, but Tim's fiance and them were super nice. Raph was super nice, and they were all just fucking go, go, go. You know, foot on the gas pedal, non-stop wheeling, and
I gotta
was
get a
talking-
fucking.
We did
Fucking-
pretty good ourselves, Luke.
We did. But to put in perspective just some of
Yeah,
my thoughts, the best quote I have from Logan is like, dude, I get it now. Everyone is just about it. There is no hesitation. And it was cool. I
Yep.
really want to go wheel New England next year. Like, instead of planning for KOH or anything like that, my plan is just go and spend a week and a half in New England. We're talking about like setting something up where I come up to Grafton or whatever you guys are calling that property, and then run F&F.
That would be a kick-ass week, and I will totally fucking play hooky from work.
Well, I was talking to Morgan about it, and she's like, if we can plan it out for middle of July, we can do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So as soon as I get my work schedule, I'm going to start planning that for next year.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Hell
Dude.
yeah, brother.
It makes me want to fucking move up to New Hampshire so fucking bad to just go and like
Do
have
it.
that type
Do
of
it,
wheeling
loser.
again.
Do it.
Um,
You won't. Pussy fart. Oh well, we gotta wait on Morgan because she's doing like cool, smart things. So like after that, then
yeah, I've
then
got
you
like
do it.
2.5 years, and then
Oh, that's fine.
with what she will be able to make in New Hampshire, it's not actually a bad play because it's almost double the money. So, you know,
There you go. Oh yeah, man.
I totally derailed that, and we went
No,
on
it's
the
all
Blue
right.
Collar Off Road Tangent podcast again. But yeah, it was great. I wish that like Runs Prime and some of the Southern boys could have gotten to experience it, but they missed out.
Fucking losers.
They have their own little suck NATO to go and do on each other, I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Fucking Bickle was giving that old toy the old Hawk Tua before he stuck it to his windshield. That shit was crazy.
That doesn't surprise me none.
He didn't give it enough because it didn't stick.
Oh really? Oh fuck.
I will be back in 1 minute.
But yeah, I mean, it sounds like that was a sick trip. I'm sad that I missed it, but you know, life do be doing the life thing. But I mean, so I mean, there was kind of like some little bit of chatter that it'll be decided where we go next year. Do you guys have any thoughts in mind of like where we should do it?
Oh fuck, what was it? It's I don't
Famous
know.
Riding?
I don't remember how far it was, but I think it's been brought up a few times, but the park that has like the old abandoned bunker on sounds like it'd be really fun.
The old abandoned what?
Bunker.
Oh, I've never heard of that at all.
I know what you're talking about. I forget the name of the park.
Yeah, I'd have to go back a little bit and listen to a couple of the old episodes, but it's been brought up like 2 or 3 times by different people.
Anthracite? Famous
No.
Redding?
It's somewhere down south. I fucking Luke might remember it.
Fuck going down south and fuck them peoples. Why? It's a New England trip. Why the heck will we take it down south?
Well, I'm just saying, it sounds like it'd be a really fun place to go.
A bunker? Are you talking about? The one that has the big cave that you can drive into?
No, it's
Oh, then I have no idea.
off-road park. It has campground on it. It has fucking cabins and shit. And there's an old bunker on
Is
the
that the one
property.
in Oklahoma?
Maybe.
Oklahoma? Fuck that!
Might
What the fuck?
be. Like I said, I don't remember where it fucking is, but it
Fuck
sounds like you
Oklahoma.
go to. Okay.
Kidding. I mean, all right, we'll figure it out. But
So
maybe Luke has it in mind.
maybe that won't be the Web Wheelers. Maybe that'll be a fucking future like trip for us though.
What?
Yeah. I mean, personally, I like Roush. Otherwise I feel like we don't go to Roush.
Yeah, even though it's
Enough.
super close.
It's a really solid park with so many fucking fun ledges that I mean, it's a well-traveled park, so it's always different. It's always slightly different. Things get easier, things get harder.
I'm kind of thinking about going down to Roush in the springtime.
Yeah, I definitely would be down to do it more often. I mean, especially it gets, you use that, expensive ass membership that you pay for anyways too. So there's benefits to going more than once.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about Roush at this point in time.
Yeah, well, for you, Luke, it's like a 10-ish hour drive, or plus or minus a little bit.
It gets 13, isn't it?
Not realistic for you to go to frequently, and it's not really like a Saturday, Sunday type of place to go to. But for us up here, it's 5-6 hours. So you go down Friday after work, and
Oh,
you
I
could
blink and I'm there. It's nice. Compared to
So
some of the other bullshit.
Luke, do
Yeah.
you know the place that you're contemplating going for the Web Wheelers Ball next year? Supposedly has a bunker or some bullshit that Richie's talking about.
that's just what I was. Has nothing to do
No,
with-
that's not a place that I would consider throwing the Web Wheelers ball at. That's way too far travel for me to want to do.
Where is it?
That would be the place with the bunker is Oklahoma. That's
Oh, so
That's
you
what I
know-
thought. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's
thought.
not
Fuck
happening.
Oklahoma. I
No,
mean,
it's a cool park from what I
yeah,
understand.
it
A really
sounds
cool
cool,
park.
but not for web wheelers. I feel like because like web wheelers is one of those things where we recognize that people are gonna want like a decent amount of people are gonna want to go to, right? So like we should visit said place or at least know what we're getting ourselves into beforehand. So I feel like
So
it's tough to go to like Oklahoma twice.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
here's where my thoughts are. The Web Wheelers Ball is in this really weird fucking spot right now where it would be a very sick invite only event if we wanted
No.
to go down that path, but I don't know if I really want to like talk about going down that path because we could do something else and have it be that, and that would be super fucking cool as well.
Mhm.
We have several properties in mind that we've talked about doing that type of shit with, and that's super cool. Or it's got to be a property that's like big enough that we can make it happen and have a bunch of people there and have it not interrupt the flow of the park, because that was the biggest problem in my mind at this point in time with the last Web Wheelers Ball 4, not 5. Web Wheelers Ball 5, they were excited because we brought people to their park. Web Wheelers Ball 4, they were upset that we brought people to their park. Very important distinction.
Web wheelers ball 4 pissed off because we brought people to their park.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the sum total of the sequence of events. There's some other details in there that I may or may not be missing, but an entirely sold out off-road park with every cabin taken is definitely a W. So like for the feedback I've gotten from some of the New England guys, and that being Tim, Raph, the other Rockaholics, is they're not opposed to taking it further away from New England because that's one of the times out of the year where they don't wheel, the New England properties. The what the fuck do they call Grafton?
Glass Mountain.
Glass Mountain. It's not wheeling Glass Mountain. It's not wheeling F&F. It's not wheeling Brookridge. It's not wheeling any of the normal spots in New England. It's just something new to go and do.
Yep.
And so Tim asked me about Harlan, and I'm like, okay. But I want to go and run Harlan with Logan and Logan. So, bring both Logans and go just have a small group and run the Pritchett or whatever it is side of Harlan, not the Everett side, which is the side that we went to, and just see what it's about before I go wanting to sign that ticket. But right now Roush kind of is just yeah, the amenities fucking below.
Yeah.
But they want us there. And there's something to be said for that. And there's something to be said for if we have a weekend where next year it's going to be a perfect 75 degrees with no rain, and everyone and their mother decides that they want to show up, there's perks to that. So right now it's still up in the air. It's going to be decided. That's not going to be something that we're going to have an answer on for anyone anytime soon.
I think the best thing that listeners can do though is if you have a park to suggest, message us on Instagram with it, because if we can find something in that West Virginia area, I think that is the most conducive for everybody involved. That West Virginia area
I
is,
would say
so
honestly
central.
anything really central East Coast or
Yeah.
more it doesn't have to be southern or northeastern.
Yep.
Just anything in that range is very doable for a lot of people. And I mean, this is the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast. We scour the the East Coast.
Yeah, that's our stomping
wheeling.
grounds.
That's our
Yeah, that's our turf, dog. Don't be stepping on it.
our
Fuck.
area of expertise. Yeah, I mean, we got those Washington boys on sometimes, and the Utahians and the Coloridians, but
Those
I would never been
losers.
out there. It's too hot. I'd melt.
I think it'd be so sick to just go and experience it though. Like I really feel like that'd be one of those things that'd be sick to like plan like a fucking month-long trip. Obviously, we'd have to be making plenty of money off this to support ourselves. But like I feel like that'd be just so sick to just plan
Nah,
out.
Cody, you're supposed to just have a job that pays you. That's the important part.
Oh, see that's the part I'm
You're
missing.
missing that
Dang it.
puzzle
Ah,
piece.
crazy. Crazy. I haven't been paid in 8 fucking weeks, but it's fine, guys. I'm living fine. What's the
Yeah.
savings for then?
Dude,
Savings are for wheeling trips.
I fucking feel that.
I thought it was to pay bills. Fuck, I'm doing it.
No, that's
guys.
not what savings should never be for bills.
No, I know. Obviously, I know. It's just circumstantial currently.
Blue collar
Uh,
bad finance podcast.
Yeah. So I know that we're coming up on like the 2-hour mark. I
We
figure
are.
that this one might be a fun one. You want to do a post-mortem?
What? Huh?
What?
Huh?
Huh? You want to do a post-mortem? Richie, what's your takeaway from the trip?
Oh.
Oh, shocks are more important than I thought.
You got the shocks and coils that I put on your trailer, right?
Yes, they
You-
safely home with me.
Did you bring those leaves by chance? I forgot to.
I
mention
did not bring those
Okay.
leaves because you did not mention it, and
Oh, that's on me. I
Give
forgot.
you Cody.
they're a bastard pack of I don't know what. So I thought,
Nah, I should get leaves anyways. I should get new leaves. Like they're really not that much money.
yeah, just
I
I
get
need to get a
the
new one too. We can buy them together.
Yeah.
just
yeah,
get
there
the
we go.
zones. They're cheap and they work, and they're made by BDS.
I have-
Yeah, but I
you
think it's only like $100 price difference to go with Clayton's. So we'll see. We'll see how everything plays out, right?
Yeah.
I think.
have-
Which side did I break? Was it the same
Driver.
side?
Driver.
I broke
Yeah.
the driver again.
Yes. You're just
Damn.
getting fat, bro. You're just leaning that bitch out too far.
No,
to the
it's the
driver's side.
opposite. I must be light because it's oversprung now.
Oh, so you're calling Alexis fat?
Damn. No, that's like one thing that girl is definitely not.
Fuck.
But
dude.
I don't know, dude. I'm just so sad. Honestly, it seemed like it's such a fun trip, and like something about Roush, and it's like an area that we know well. And I'm sad that I missed it, but sounds like you guys had a really
I don't
sick
know.
time.
It's a nostalgic trip for me. That was like
Yeah.
the first park we ever went to that was out of the New England sort of range that I had ever been to. And it was just
This trip,
always an adventure, and even for many people it may not be that. It might be just an overpriced park or whatever, but it does have a lot to offer, and it brings me good memories when we come back there. And that's why I'm always pissed when everybody always goes to the fucking hotels or does something stupid and doesn't just hang out in the parking lot, because even though it's not ideal, the vibes just aren't the same when everyone goes and scurries off to the hotel at 9 o'clock and we're
No,
not
see,
sitting by a fire till 2 o'clock in the morning.
No. Hear me out. Now everybody goes to the hotel, and then we have a parking lot party.
No, that's not the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I'm with you on that. On the that's not the same vibe.
No.
So-
Hey, I get it, but ever since having that heat stroke and that hotel is literally fucking practically saving my life, I gotta attest to, there's sometimes an importance to it. That's all.
I
That's
will
why I
give you
bought an
that.
RV, and we'll put an AC unit in, and it can
Oh,
be
yeah.
a rehab station.
Perfect. Oh, I'm good.
Yo,
Where are we going?
That
I'm in.
fucking park needs it. That park needs a fucking shower, and it needs
Oh, man,
someplace cool to like chillax. Because if I could have taken a cold shower and like
Oh, I could
whatever,
have
I would have
provided
been
you one of
fine.
those.
Well, you didn't.
You didn't ask.
I was heat stroked to fuck. You think my brain was working?
That's not my fault.
Touche.
Actually,
that
you know
is
what it
definitely
could
my
have
fault.
been? Let's say you were having a head gasket issue, right? Hear me out. You're having a head gasket issue. If you have an exhaust leak and some of those coolant fumes were actually leaking out and seeping into the cabin, bro, you could have just fucking had like inhalation poisoning.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Because that would do the same
Oh.
thing. It would cause you to like feel lethargic. It would cause you to like lose function of normal everyday things. And I don't know, just something to keep in mind.
All I know is that at the end of Sunday, when I pulled into the parking lot, Graham's buddy with the J truck, Sam, walks up to me and he goes,
No, not Sam.
"Not Sam. What's his name then?"
Tyler.
Tyler?
No, I have no idea.
No.
I have no fucking clue.
Okay. Graham's buddy with the J truck walks up and he goes, "Yeah, your head gasket's shot." I'm like, "Is it? Really? I smelled some gas and like some coolant, but I didn't think anything of it." And he's like, "Dude, it's bubbling combustion gases and fucking coolant out. She is cooked and she has been cooked for a hot minute." And I'm like, "Oh. Oh. Huh. Okay." So it's possible that it was inhalation. I'm not gonna deny that because it was not a fun trip out of there. It
Were
took
your
me
fingertips tingling?
a little bit.
Yeah, 100%, brother. 100%.
It took me like getting to the parking lot, drinking a bunch of water, and just chilling away from the rig to realize that the rig was parked on a rock, not in gear.
Also, what's the elevation difference between PA to Tennessee? That could be
I-
probably a factor too.
I have
wouldn't
no
think it's-
clue.
Any major amount.
I think that would kick in days after you got there, Cody.
And if anything,
don't know, I'm
Tennessee,
just-
I'd think would be higher than Pennsylvania.
I
I could be
w-
wrong, but
No, not necessarily. But I'm just throwing out different ideas. It just because it just sounds like it could have been just a lack of a few different things, not necessarily just hydration.
Because I was trying my best to stay hydrated. Like, I had a fuck ton of hydration with me and everything.
It's clear.
Yeah.
all right. Well, we don't need to
Well,
reiterate
you-
about
you're
a million
hydrated.
times about hydration.
Anyways, so to continue on Graham's point, Richie, back to your postmortem. So shocks, front locker, long arms, and that Comanche is totally different. It works really well as it is now.
Yeah. It was. I need to get the shocks in the rear. I need to do the full tune-up on everything because not being able to use any of my fucking 2,000 RPM range was fucking god awful.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's got like this weird stumble cackle thing going on in there, and then it clears up at 3.
It was so fucking annoying. I could be at 1,990 RPMs and it fucking run fine. As soon as I hit 2K, it starts. As soon as I got 3K, fucking runs like a top.
Is it a distributor as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Are you missing a gears on the sprocket in there? Because that would make sense if it matches up like with like the missing gear at that RPM or something. It starts fucking up.
Well,
I
I
don't-
think that would be a 1-for-1. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me though if the
Okay.
coil's shot or something stupid like that, and it just kind of like falters in that RPM range.
This is why I like my coil pack. I've never had to do that. It'll
I
run with a couple cylinders out.
I was just gonna do a full tune-up on it because
They're
you know-
easy.
exactly, it's cheap and easy enough to do, and God knows the last time it was done on it.
I would also say throw an O2 sensor in that pig.
Yeah,
Great
probably.
point.
Post-mortem.
It was a lot of fun though. I thought I was gonna have a much harder time adjusting to driving the stick, but I had a harder time dealing with no front locker.
Oh, 100%. That's gonna be the most noticeable thing, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you in your brain, you're so used to like imagining your line, right? Like you're coming up to an obstacle and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put tire here, but then you go up to it and it's like, what the fuck's happening? Like these they're not doing the thing because you're like both aren't putting power to the ground. So it makes sense that would be one of the biggest things that you had an issue with for sure.
I thought I was gonna have a harder time with the stick though, because up to this point in time, the only off-roading I've done with a stick was in Luke's Cherokee. The few times I've been off-road with it, and that's geared and everything. Whereas I'm using stock gearing, big tires, blah blah blah, and I'm figuring out really how I'm supposed to be feathering the clutch and the throttle and everything all at one time. But no, it was the fucking front locker that cucked me every fucking chance possible.
They'll do that to you.
I was so close to popping the fucking diff open and just welding it. I was so fucking.
Oh no, such a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
I got pretty frustrated at the end of the day Friday about it.
You were
Luckily,
making the
lockers
best
are
of it.
I was making the best of it, but I was getting pretty fucking pissy. But I'm like, buying a whole new carrier and everything's going to be a lot more expensive than just fucking throwing a lunchbox in.
You're
Wait,
not
why are
wrong
you
there.
regearing it?
No,
you're
if
saying
you
if you welded
it.
it and then gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. My apologies. Technically, you could just do the spiders, but then
And you have to cut them out anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point.
And-
Good point.
It's. I'm just kind of jealous because like Kish's postmortem is so simple. It's so fucking simple, dude. It's
I
like,
mean, that,
cool.
I don't know. I have to come up with a beefier drive shaft for the rear.
Just
Yeah,
shorter
that's
or
simple.
better angled drive shafts for sure.
Square
It's
drive
not even
shaft.
the angle. It's just
It-
he needs thicker wall tubing, and that's all
It's just
there is
not
to it.
square. That's the problem.
Or you could do double traction bars and then have it run the same angle, and hopefully that would help with it not dragging on rocks.
Double traction bars.
Yeah.
I will
Absolutely not.
be a traction bar on over the winter.
Or an anti-wrap, sorry, but whatever.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. I will be actually putting a real drive shaft in it that is somewhat better in terms of wall thickness, because I was looking at the drive shaft and it's caved in quite a few spots.
Dude, that repair was so caveman, it wasn't funny.
Dude, that repair surprisingly spins so fucking true for just eyeballing it in a parking lot and going, "Yep, looks good for my house."
And after seeing the cut you did on your drive shaft, I'm really surprised. There was fucking little pieces hanging off of it. It was jagged like a haggle tooth.
So my TKs kept popping out of 4 low. So
the zip ties.
Yeah, I popped the linkage out, slammed it into 4 low by hand, and then just zip tied the McFuck out of it to keep it in place.
So isn't that usually motor mount? Isn't that usually the cause of it? Is that it's
motor
motor-
trans.
The linkage is clapped out. It needs a linkage. That's all.
That's easy. I think
It needs a
Well,
linkage
actually,
and it needs motor mounts and transmission mounts.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'll.
I'm saying like it wasn't throwing it all the way into 4 low. It was like just starting to go into 4 low, and then it popped right out. But
I bet you'd be surprised.
I ended up taking the Jeep out of 4 and put it into 2 once I got home, and I ripped it up and down the road a few times. Very minimum vibration from the rear. I was quite surprised by that.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's a plus.
I don't know if I would drive it all the way to New Hampshire with how that drive shaft is right now, but around town, fucking sure.
That was such a stupid repair too. That was great.
Don't forget, we did tack a cap too.
Yep, we did weld the cap in because he spit the C-clip out and mangled the C-clip groove.
Hey, it works. That works damn well.
Graham, what's your post-mortem analysis?
I need to do leaf spring, low priority, but it does need to happen. I need to put the power steering pump in and see if I like that one, and if I don't, I'm gonna probably put it up for sale. But I think it'll be fine. I think my standards are pretty dang low, and if that one functions, it's already been broken in. It was in another rig, so if it works, it works. I already spent the money on it.
If it don't, it don't.
If it don't, it don't. I'll look at it again. I'm not changing to full hydro. It's not happening. Uh,
At least not
the
this
rest of it's
year.
fine. I mean, I need to clean it out. It's all moldy inside because it doesn't have any windows. But that's all I got. I mean, it's just working right now. Don't need nothing. It's not breaking. Oh, I need to do the fucking uh brake caliper flip or rotation because I'm tired of smashing those things. I smashed the slide pins and the caliper itself looks fine, but probably needs new. I don't know if I bother with new pads, but definitely need to just take that apart and finally rotate them up. The back axles always needed a little bit of love. I haven't put much into it, so probably those three things: leaf spring, rotate the caliper brackets in the back, and power steering. Those are my
That's
only
really not bad.
major things.
You pretty much knowing about all those issues except for the leaf spring. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
really not the end of
exactly.
the world.
Yeah, the leaf spring disappointing. Am I upset? No. It's $300. It's not the end of the world, and I don't have to change them that often. It sucks that Roush keeps killing them though.
Yeah, Roush done got you pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe someday we'll do a 4-link, but that ain't in the budget.
Yeah.
That's after the J truck and Dodge. What's your postmortem, Luke?
Orbital, head gasket, and distributor at the
ain't
moment. Those are
bad.
the basic ones. The slow orbital has to go. There is no. Fuck, dude. I don't know if it would have avoided all of my weekends or all of my Sunday problems, but like having an orbital that would have reacted faster would be super fucking nice. I've got 4 turns. I was supposed to have 3.5, which is equivalent to factory. I want to speed it up to the 3 mark to see if that ends up feeling closer to factory. Chris Terra was talking to me about what pulley to buy. So I'm just going to end up doing that. The hubs are a massive problem. I have slugs in it right now. They are not a permanent solution. I'm going to warranty this stuff out. And like, I know where my long-term goals now sit. The long-term goals are I want to just cut out the triple C pillar because I don't need that much fucking weight out back anymore with how much weight I was able to cut out of the front. So that's going to happen. The rear suspension needs the upper arms looked at. I need to move them a little wider apart to see if I can start fixing some of my geometry problems. I really liked how RAF suspension was set up, so I may end up seeing how hard it would be to copy some of that into my rig and go to a triangulated 4-link front. That all ties in, though, to me wanting to put an 05 Plus under it because I struggle with the idea of wanting to cut this truss up more and like have to continuously like keep changing shit. It's not appealing to me on this 99 to 04 front. I'd rather see it slid under the front of Richie's Comanche or somewhere else where it's going to do something good than to continue to like work on it. Because
Understandable, for sure.
like
Especially if you're recognizing like the proper progression for it, right? Like if you're there, then fuck it.
if I'm already
I
rebuilding,
disagree. You already have so much into that axle. You could just get hubs, bore them out, 35 spline, put a slug in it. If you're really worried, put RCVs in it. But
I want to put like a Barnes Pro Series truss on there so I have a nice even mounting plane for mounting my uppers. Whereas right now it does the like droopy thing, and
you know, angle grinders and measuring tapes are a thing. You can put
they
those
are
uppers wherever you want.
They are. I'm not gonna argue that, but I
think the tall trusses look kind of goofy. Like I get it; it makes it easy to make those brackets, but like, why not just do the tiny bit of extra work with a piece of cardboard to make the things what you want where you want them?
and keep it kind of low profile.
I mean, yes, but also no. I'm running into the problem of if I leave a track bar in it, I have to go cut the track bar mount off and move it because I notice the front axle swinging a lot more. Adding the up travel in, I didn't used to notice it the way that I'm noticing it now. Now, maybe that's just a bullshit nitpick, and hey, it might just be a bullshit nitpick, but it's my bullshit rig to bullshit nitpick.
You're gonna cut a lot less brackets off of that 04 than you will the 05.
I'm not cutting them off the 05. I'm paying ShopKid to do it.
I
and
know.
Picking it
I
up.
know. I'm just saying.
Fucking ShopKid's great. You know, and you're absolutely right about that. But I want to move the location where the coilovers are from behind the axle to centered over the axle and lowered down a little bit to fit a 14 in. And just like bunch of just stupid nitpick shit. We've known for a while now that the rear on my rig does well, but there's things it can do better. So like I want to redo the rear truss situation, cut that bracket off, weld in some new brackets to get a little bit more spread on the upper control arms because of how angled in my lowers are. Slap a set of the Barnes prefab 36-inch long trailing arms in. Give it another 3 inches of stretch out back, another 3 inches, 4 inches up front. Put me in that 115, 116 range. Slap
So,
some bigger tires on. Huh?
Still less than the Comanche.
I mean, yeah, you know, just trailing arms, full front suspension and rear suspension rebuild, and shorten the body 20 inches. No big deal.
No big deal. Light work for a Sunday afternoon.
Mhm.
It's, you know, Jason was super kind to the rig and like, I appreciate it. And he's like, you know, fab work's pretty nice. Not perfect by any means, but he said like the rig deserves to go out with them and all that. I'm like, that's cool. But like, just the edging or like the window dressing's not fucking all there, if that makes sense. It it does the thing, but there's a lot of things that need to get redone to make it what I want it to be in the future. And we'll cross that road as we cross that road. But the biggest thing is I got to get the running issues sorted out. That's been a nonstop problem, and I got to fix the steering speed. And another stupid bullshit thing is I tried one of them Harbor Freight hooks. Fuck that thing. I'm going back to the D-rings.
One of the Harbor Freight hooks? What do you mean?
For the winch. Like, one of the replacement
Oh.
hooks that they sell. I
Oh,
broke it
Fucking
second day.
tried sending it into a goddamn rock.
Yeah, well, I
Still,
do
it
that
should
with
be able
D-rings
to-
all the time.
Yeah, it should be able to withstand that.
You got to get the soft shackle stuff. You smash
Yeah,
those in rocks.
swapping to the soft shackle end on the winch is pretty sick. And then you get to learn a new technique of weaving and shit like that's kind of cool. Definitely worth considering.
I don't know. I just bought my winch line for $100 and it snapped once and we tied it or did something, weaved it. I forget what we did. I didn't do it. Somebody else did. Because I tied it, it
Colin
was
did.
snapping.
Colin did.
Colin did it?
Yep. Colin
Oh,
was.
okay.
I mean, he's
So,
the only
yeah,
one that
I
I
don't
know.
know.
Unless it was Rob. I think Rob also knew how to weave winch line in our group during those times. It was either Colin or him. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm gonna go through all my recovery gear. I have a lot of it, but a lot of it's kind of like half and half, where it's not all soft shackle stuff, and it's nice, and it's definitely more flexible as far as how you use it. Right? You can wrap it around
Yeah.
cages. You can't really wrap a D ring around a cage. You have to pull the whole
Once you
strap
stack a
out. And
few
then
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
would now be a bad time to shout out Crawler Off-Road?
Go for it, brother.
BCOP gets you 10% off your order at checkout, so go check them out.
And they supply recovery gear, just to clarify.
They
yeah.
do.
Look at that, a perfect segue.
That was a good segue. You know, and it was super nice meeting everyone at the Web Wheelers Ball. You know, make sure to just at the next one come and fucking see us and just say hi. We're friendly people. We're just people.
Except
Well,
for Luke. Don't
Luke-
don't check
Luke's
him.
grumpy. Luke
Yeah.
gets grumpy, especially if you tell him to go somewhere and it's wrong.
And
Don't do that.
Don't ask if he's okay to drive ever.
I'm not grumpy about being asked if it was okay to drive. It was just like oh fuck, I'm probably a little fucking out
The
of it.
answer is never. Luke is never okay to drive.
Whoa,
Somebody take his
whoa.
fucking keys.
There's no fucking keys to start the Jeep anymore.
No one's massacred mile marker hubs like you. That alone, take his license away.
Yeah, no, that was a slaughter. 4 of them in one weekend was rough. I can't keep doing that.
Yeah, that's not a fuse anymore. That's just a fucking
Problem.
yeah.
It used to be the fuse. It's not the fuse anymore. The rig's grown up too far. They're not the fuse. The exploding 30 spline shit is going to be annoying, and that's going to start really soon. And woohoo, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 sec.
Bets on if the inner or the outer goes first.
Outer.
Outer?
You've been shock loading them.
Shocking. My driving,
Mhm.
shock loading stuff. Jason said that my driving's improved, so I was kind of shocked by that.
Wow, that's impressive.
Especially considering the poor performance this weekend.
I felt bad. Like the hub shit is whatever, but it still sucks. And the motor stuff. I don't know. At least your fuel pump didn't give out.
Dude, I was more
Your
pissed about
transfer
the
case
motor.
didn't fall out.
I was more pissed about the motor shit than anything else.
Yeah, it happens.
And like, I don't have a good answer because LSs are still going to have fucking their own problems. Everything's going to have its own problems. I'm half tempted to just grab another 4.0, slap another 4.0 in it. That's been like gone through with a new head gasket, intake gasket.
I wouldn't even
oil
bother.
pump.
Just find another used old one for cheap or free. And just put it in. It takes 2 seconds. You know the drill.
I know the drill. I don't feel like pulling this one out at the moment, so I'm just gonna see what happens with a new distributor and head gasket, and if it still doesn't run, then I'll go down that path. But
Yeah.
we'll see what the rest of my season looks like. I'll be a little sad if I write the season off with an AOP Windrock and Roush trip, but you know, hey. It made those trips, and I had a good time at most of those places. I had 2 really good days at Roush, 1 really shitty day. It'd be like that sometimes.
Yep.
Um,
Just like my web wheelers ball. Just
Yeah.
4 shitty days. One moderate day. One I got out. The rest
Yeah.
of them sitting in the parking lot.
Yeah, and you know, like Logan and I were talking about this, and realistically, right, Richie, I know you said it. We were out at 9 every morning, and we didn't come back until 6 or 7 o'clock at night every night that we were out. So I got more seat time than I spent on drive time, even with how fucked up my weekend got. I can't really complain about that.
Yeah.
I can recognize faults and move forward. I can compliment Shop Kid's work because it all worked well. And there's lessons for me to learn for the future.
Always something.
Indeed. Richie?
Yeah?
You got any surprise animal facts for us this episode?
I do not.
Well, on that note, thank you everyone that came out to the Web Wheelers Ball. Y'all make the Web Wheelers Ball what it is. And the amount of support that we got this weekend was fucking awesome. Thank you to everyone that came up and talked to us. You guys rock. And, you know, You guys are why we continue to do this. So thanks for being a part of making the Web Wheelers Ball what it is.
Nah, we'd do it if we were talking to a black hole.
I mean,
Don't
yeah.
lie.